I now call to order the City Council regular meeting Thursday, December 11th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. in the Council Chamber, City Hall. An announcement of quorum at 6:35 p.m. We're going to have the pledge and invocation by Council Member Jacob Powell, District Number 5.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
If you would please join me in prayer. Dear God, we just thank you for today, and we thank you that we have another opportunity to just gather and to discuss how we can just build a better Baytown together, God. And we pray that you do just lead and guide us in each of our discussions we have this evening, each of the decisions we make, God. I pray that ultimately everything we do here this evening glorifies you, Lord. And God, I thank you for this season that we get to celebrate the coming of your Son that was born on the earth as a man, God, that he would, years down the road, go to a cross and give us a way that we could be forgiven of our sins and live with you eternally, God. And so we just thank you for everything that Christmas means, Lord. And we pray all these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Start off with citizen comment. We have a few citizens signed up to speak. The purpose of citizen comment is to give all interested citizens the right to express their views. Everyone desiring to speak should have either signed the appropriate list in the foyer or emailed the city clerk prior to the posted time of this meeting. Each citizen shall give his or her name and address in order to provide proper record of these comments. The rules allow each person 1 minute to speak. A citizen may pass his or her time to another person who has requested to address council. However, no citizen remarks shall exceed 3 minutes in total. Either the 1 minute or the 3 minute limit may be extended by a majority vote of council. I encourage everyone to be as brief and to the point as possible. Please keep in mind, council cannot discuss or deliberate items for which public notice has not been given on this agenda. We're going to start with Mr. Troy Whiteneck. Please state your address for record.
Troy Whiteneck, 9946 Bayou Woods Drive. I understand that 62 people walked into a polling place, trusting the poll workers, trusting the city clerk of Baytown, trusting city council, and unknowingly trusting Houston city clerk. And their votes were disenfranchised. And who did everybody blame for that? They blamed the voters themselves. And I understand that you looked at the vote in your workshop. These people deserve a big apology from the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whiteneck. Next, we have James Kilburn. Please state your address for record.
Good afternoon. I'm James Kilburn, 5001 Ashwood Drive here in Baytown. I had asked the city clerk to distribute a copy of a posting that was made by the city of Baytown on January 24th, I believe it was, of this year, referencing signage that was to be placed at the railroad, several of the railroad crossings. Nothing's been done yet. Hold
on 1 second. We need to set the timer for you.
I'm good without it.
Oh, no, we're not good without it, though.
I understand.
Thank you.
Yes. This past week, Tuesday, coming down.
Hold on 1 second. We haven't said it yet. The clerk is, now you're good to go. Thank you.
This Tuesday, when I was coming down Decker Drive, I was passed by a Baytown ambulance running lights and siren. He went past the 330 off-ramp, came around the curve. There's a train blocking the track. He had to make the U-turn, go back up to Bayway, U-turn again, come down to get up onto 330, go down to Rolling Brook, get off, make the U-turn, come back up to Baker and take a right to go to the ambulance. This entire time, he's running lights and sirens. Folks, the City of Baytown posted that this was going to be placed, that these signs were going to be put into place in January. I don't know if any dirt has been turned anywhere yet for it, but I encourage you, can we please get something put up to warn of these trains blocking the track? Or could the police department start issuing tickets when they're sitting there for an hour at a time, nonstop? Or I'm sorry, stopped. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Crystal Sarmiento.
Good job.
I got it right?
You did. It's a mouthful. Slay my husband.
Just a real quick note, she is one of our fellow council members from Manville, Texas.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. What am I doing here from Manville?
Well, I need your address first.
Yes, sir. So my name is Crystal de Leon Sarmiento, or Sarmiento, and my address is 6531 Sam Rayburn Drive, Manville, Texas, 77578.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. First of all, this lady has a beautiful smile. Secondly, I'm here visiting to say that I am your candidate for Congress for this newly redrawn district map. I want to make it a priority to meet with whoever wants to meet with me. I sent an email to the council to just ask for coffee, have a meeting. I think that it's important to know what the issues are that your constituents are saying that they have from a federal level. Man, that was fast. Oh, 30 seconds. Okay, it's a warning there. We give 3 minutes, so anyway, I just wanted to come and just introduce myself and let everybody here know, as well as the citizens of Baytown, that I will be working hard to earn the vote of every citizen here, not just the 25% of the citizens in District 9, but the 100%. And so I would welcome a meeting, and so thank you so much for this time. Kudos to whoever decorated outside. It looks great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a blessed evening. Thank you.
There being no one else desiring to speak, this concludes our citizen comment portion of the agenda. 2A, consider approving the minutes of the City Council work session and Municipal Development District and City Council regular joint meeting held on November 13th, 2025. I need a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Recognitions and citizen comments. 3A, we're going to recognize City of Baytown employees for their years of service. Mr. Lopez.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, we're going to recognize some December employees, including the high milestone of 140-year employee that I think a lot of you, if not all of you, will recognize.
Tim Lincoln, 25 years, Public Works and Engineering, Associate Project Manager 2. Before joining the City of Baytown, Tim graduated in 1988 with a degree in journalism and, in 1990, answered a higher call to serve by joining the United States Army. He deployed to Desert Storm, serving in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Kuwait, where he earned a letter of commendation for his dedication and performance under pressure. In November 1995, he began his career with the city in water distribution. From those early days in the trenches, he advanced to equipment operator and later senior equipment operator. After resigning in September 2000 following a DWI, he made a life-changing decision. He quit drinking that Christmas. Just days later, on December 26, 2000, he returned to the city, this time to the sewer side, determined to rebuild, grow, and serve with renewed purpose, and his career path reflects that commitment. He promoted to lift station operator in 2006, became the city's first private sewer line inspection supervisor in 2007, served as crew chief of water distribution in 2011, utility construction foreman in 2013, and ultimately utility superintendent in 2016. In 2023, he brought his field experience and leadership skills to engineering, where he now serves as an associate project manager 2, plan reviewer, and consultant. Throughout his career, he has been on the front lines during hurricanes, freezes, major water breaks, and emergencies of every kind. He worked 24 hours straight during Hurricane Rita, despite having a broken hand, performed lift station rounds during historic storms, and managed countless high-risk sewer incidents, including one that cost him part of his ear. He responded to major water main ruptures, including a 16-inch bayway break that sent him to the hospital. No matter the challenge, he showed up with determination and unwavering commitment to the citizens of Baytown. His proudest achievements, however, have always been about people, mentoring crews, working long nights to repair lines, tracking sewer stoppages, and supporting teams throughout the hardest conditions. As superintendent, one of his most meaningful traditions was his Thursday Smiley Happy Faces meetings, created to remind his staff that they mattered and their work had purpose. Outside of his service to the city, he is proud to have his name on the glass wall at the Texans Stadium as an original permanent seat license holder. He also treasures his family life, having married his wonderful wife Vicki in March 2009. Thank you, Tim, for 25 years of outstanding service, dedication, and leadership in our community and beyond.
Wes Dobbins, 25 years, Fire and EMS, Fire Captain. Wes began his career with Baytown Fire Department in December of 2000. After completing his initial training, he was assigned to Station 5, where he served for 15 months before transferring to Station 4. In 2004, Baytown Fire received a national grant to establish a 13-county regional hazardous materials hazmat team, and he had the privilege of joining the first hazardous materials technician class ever held in Baytown. That opportunity laid the groundwork for what would become one of the most meaningful and enduring aspects of his career. Wes remained at Station 4 until his promotion to engineer operator in 2007. Following a short assignment at Station 3, he returned to Station 4 to continue serving alongside a team he deeply respected. When Station 7 opened in May 2013, the entire crew transitioned together, bringing with them their experience, passion, and commitment to the hazmat program. He was promoted to lieutenant in August of 2017, just 2 weeks before Hurricane Harvey struck the Texas Gulf Coast. Leading through such a historic disaster tested him in ways he will always remember, while also reinforcing his dedication to both the department and the community it protects. In 2023, Wes was appointed Baytown Fire's Hazmat Coordinator, a role he proudly continues to hold. Today, he serves as Captain and Hazmat Coordinator on Engine 7, where he focuses on training, mentorship, and enhancing the department's specialized response capabilities. Thank you, Captain Dobbins, for 25 years of dedicated service to our organization and the Baytown community. Your commitment, heart, and tireless efforts have made a lasting effort in the lives of those you serve.
Mike Wills, 30 years, Fire and EMS, Fire Captain. Captain Mike Wills began his career with the Baytown Fire Department in 1995 at Station 5. In 1996, he married his wife Amanda, and together they later welcomed 2 children who have been a steady source of pride throughout his career. In 1997, Mike transferred to Station 1, where he became deeply involved in high-angle rescue and auto extraction. Over the years, he continued to build significant expertise in these areas, along with extensive experience in self-contained breathing apparatus operations. His technical knowledge and calm approach have made him a dependable resource for firefighters across the department. As a supervisor, he is known for helping develop the firefighters under his command. Many of them have gone on to promote through the ranks, including into chief officer positions. His leadership and commitment to training have made Station 1 a consistently sought-after assignment, with firefighters often asking to be placed on a list should any vacancies arise. In addition to his operational contributions, Mike has supported community-focused programs, including assisting with fire safety education through the Beat Alley program. Since 2017, he has also served as an instructor at the San Jacinto College Fire Academy, where he teaches recruits the fundamentals of the firefighting profession. A significant moment in his career came in 2019, when he served as a key member of the rescue team responding to the Greenpeace protest on the Hartman Bridge. His expertise and steady leadership contributed to the safe and successful resolution of that incident. For his actions, he received the Distinguished Service Ribbon. That same year, he was honored with the Fire Chiefs Award for his dedication to the department and the citizens of Baytown. Outside of work, Mike values time with his family. His daughter Haley is expecting a child, and Mike looks forward to becoming a grandfather in April 2026, a milestone his family is excited to celebrate. Captain Wills, thank you for 30 years of dedicated service to the Baytown Fire Department and the community of Baytown. Your professionalism, experience, and commitment have made a lasting impact on our organization.
David Alford, 40 years, Police, Assistant Police Chief. Assistant Chief David Alford's story is one shaped by service, perseverance, and a deep love for his community. He grew up in Baytown and attended Ross S. Sterling High School. After graduation, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Upon completing his active service, David returned home to Baytown and joined the Baytown Police Department, where he worked patrol, served as a field training officer, and became a member of the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit. In 1991, Sergeant Alford answered the call once more and re-entered active duty military service in support of Operation Desert Storm, before returning yet again to Baytown to continue protecting and serving the citizens he loves. Across the course of his policing career, David earned numerous awards and commendations, including twice being recognized as Officer of the Month. His service was further honored with the Law Enforcement Appreciation Medal from the Sons of the American Revolution, VFW Police Officer of the Year, and Baytown Chamber of Commerce Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. Under the department's modernized award program, he received 3 life-saving medals, the Taser International John H. Cover Medal for Heroism, the Chief's Commendation Award, and the Chief's Unit Citation Medals. It's hard for him to believe 40 years have passed, and though no place, person, or profession is perfect, David considers himself profoundly blessed to have spent his life serving the department and this city. His career, marked with achievement and honor, was also touched by deep personal loss when his first wife, Leslie, passed away. In time, he was blessed to find love again and remarried. He and his wife, Cindy, share 5 children and an active life of faith. David profoundly professes Jesus Christ and serves as a deacon at Rolling Brook Fellowship, Baytown's First Baptist Church. After retirement, he plans to continue serving as a peer supporter, a calling that has shaped his heart and will guide his next chapter. His uniform may one day come off for good, but his service never will. Thank you, Chief Alford, for 40 years of devoted service to our community and for the many ways you continue to make Baytown a better place. Your dedication and genuine care inspire us all.
Cancer Awareness Month. I head down here, and if y'all want to be in a photo after this, feel free to come join me.
Oh, you're gonna invite us in.
Open invitation.
Okay, man, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Charles Johnson, council members, and community leaders. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Anish Senthil, and I'm here on behalf of the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative, or ALCSI, a national nonprofit working to increase awareness and access to life-saving lung cancer screening. The opportunity to be here with you all is truly important because with your help, we can work together to save the lives of our Baytown citizens. To share a little bit about who we are, ALCSI is a national 501c3 nonprofit focused entirely on raising awareness about lung cancer screening. Over the past few years, we've held more than 1,200 educational events and spoken with over 70,000 people across our country about the importance of early detection. Our organization brings together more than 700 volunteers across North America, students like me, physicians, survivors, families, and advocates, all united by the mission to save lives through early detection. We now have over 130 chapters across the United States and Canada. Each one works closely with local hospitals, schools, and city leaders to spread awareness and expand access to screening. What we're doing here today in Baytown is part of a much larger growing movement, a movement built on community leadership and the belief that health should never depend on awareness alone. Throughout this effort, we've had the privilege of partnering with mayors, governors, and members of Congress to record public service announcements and speak directly to residents. When trusted leaders speak up about screening, people listen and take action. That's why proclamations like the one you're issuing today are so meaningful. They spark conversations at kitchen tables, in waiting rooms, and within families who may not otherwise have heard about lung cancer screening. So far, more than 625 proclamations have been issued across all 50 states and Canada, recognizing the importance of lung cancer screening. When Baytown joins this effort, it doesn't just raise awareness locally. It sends a national, clear message that our community values early detection, prevention, and the lives of our residents. And this truly matters because lung cancer remains the leading cause of cancer-related death in the United States. It claims more lives each year than breast, colorectal, and cervical cancers combined. The heartbreaking reality is that most cancers are discovered late, at a point when treatment becomes far more difficult. But it doesn't have to be this way. Screening allows us to catch lung cancer early, long before symptoms appear, when treatment is most effective and survival rates improve drastically. Nearly half of lung cancer cases in the United States are diagnosed only after the cancer has spread to other parts of the body. At that point, the 5-year survival rate drops to around 7%. But when lung cancer is caught early, lives are saved. That's what makes screening so powerful. Here in our own region, this impact is deeply felt. In Harris County, an average of 2,509 residents are diagnosed with lung cancer each year. And across Texas, more than 13,500 people face a lung cancer diagnosis annually. These aren't just numbers. They represent parents, grandparents, neighbors, and friends. They remind us why awareness and early detection matter right here in our own community. The good news is that we have a solution available. Lung cancer screening uses a quick, painless, low-dose CT scan, covered by insurance for people who qualify. Just as mammograms transformed early detection for breast cancer, CT screening is one of the most effective ways we have to reduce deaths from lung cancer, lowering mortality by 20% or more. And yet, despite how effective this test is, screening rates remain incredibly low. In Texas, only about 12% of people at high risk are getting screened. That means nearly 9 out of 10 people who qualify for a life-saving test are missing out, often simply because they've never heard about it. That gap is where awareness, education, and community leadership make all the difference. There are several meaningful ways a community like Baytown can help close that gap. One is by helping us connect with local groups, senior centers, civic clubs, and community events, where we can share information directly with residents. Even a short conversation can change someone's life. Cities can also include screening information in newsletters, websites, or email updates, reaching thousands of people with just a few sentences. We would also love to collaborate with Baytown's public health leaders, clinics, and hospitals to spread accurate information about screening. Partnership is how we make access easier and awareness stronger. Another incredibly meaningful action could be a brief public service announcement recorded by the mayor, encouraging residents to get screened. A 30-second message from a trusted city leader can influence more people than any flyer or statistic ever could. And finally, proclamations like the one being issued today carry real impact. They raise awareness, inspire action, and honor those affected by lung cancer. So I want to say thank you to Mayor Charles Johnson and the entire Baytown City Council for recognizing the importance of lung cancer screening and for choosing to be a part of this national effort to save lives. Thank you all for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to the health of the community. Together, we can ensure that more people in Baytown, Harris County, across Texas, across the United States, get the life-saving screening they need. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Any questions? Not at the time, you sure? Yes, sir.
How old are you?
Yeah.
I'm 15 years old.
What?
Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Thank you.
I couldn't do better myself. Thank you for coming up.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. Well, let's get this done. Really good job. You want to read this? Okay. Proclamation City of Baytown Lung Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among men and women in the United States and in Baytown in 2024, accounting for more deaths than colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer combined. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there were 13,484 new lung cancer cases in Texas between 2017 and 2021, and 8,450 deaths due to lung cancer between 2018 and 2022. And whereas screening high-risk individuals for lung cancer using low-dose computed tomography can lead to the earlier detection and save lives, reducing mortality by 20% compared to chest x-ray screening in the National Lung Association screening trial, and reducing the risk of death at 10 years by 24% in men and 33% in women, as demonstrated by another large randomized trial. And whereas funding for lung cancer research continues to lag behind that of many other cancers, and increased investment is urgently needed in early diagnosis, screening, and treatment, including research on lung cancer affecting women and lung cancer health disparities. And whereas women diagnosed with lung cancer are more likely to be younger and never smokers, lung cancer incidence and mortality rates in women are rising relative to men. More women die from lung cancer than from breast cancer each year, and by 2035, it is projected that more women than men will die from lung cancer. And whereas, that's the last one, I promise, organizations working in the Baytown community, such as the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative and the Women's Lung Cancer Forum, are committed to educating the public about lung cancer and lung cancer screening rates in Baytown. Now, therefore, I, Charles Johnson, Mayor of Baytown, do hereby proclaim the month of November as Lung Cancer Awareness Month in the city of Baytown and recognize the ongoing need for research on lung cancer affecting women and lung cancer health disparities, and encourage all citizens to learn about lung cancer and the importance of early detection through screening. Good job. Let's go over here and put a picture.
No, y'all are perfect. I need everybody else to squeeze in up here. Ready? Here we go. All right, here we go. One. Oh yeah, your glasses. Sorry about that. One. Let me do one more. Okay. Thank you.
Good job again. That was really good. You're heading out already?
Did you send it to yourself?
Now we're on to public hearings. The public hearings today are being held for the purpose of giving all interested persons the right to express their views regarding the subject of the public hearings. Everyone desiring to be a part of today's public hearing should have either signed the appropriate list in the foyer or emailed the city clerk prior to the posted time of this meeting. Each participant shall give his or her name and address in order to provide a proper record of these hearings. The rules allow each person 3 minutes to present information. However, I do encourage everyone to be as brief and to the point as possible. If you are a group of persons wishing to address the council on the same subject, please select a spokesperson to present the information, and if anyone has any questions, please direct them to me. 4A, conduct a public hearing and consider a request for a proposed text amendment to Chapter 111 Unified Land Development Code of the Baytown Code of Ordinances to revise Divisions 2.21, 2.31, 2.32, 2.33, 3.22, 3.42, 7.210, and 10.2 of the ULDC regarding garage offsets, shipping containers, and general corrections in consistency with the previous code and the 2025 code. It is now 7:04 p.m., and I call to order this public hearing concerning the request for the proposed text amendment to Chapter 11 Unified Land Development Code of the Baytown Code of Ordinances and revised Divisions 2.21, 2.31, 2.32, 2.33, 3.22, 3.42, 7.210, and 10.2 of the ULDC. I feel like I need to play the lottery now.
It was easier than listing out all of the titles.
Yeah, it's all good. I would now like to request staff to summarize the subject of this public hearing. Mr. Scribner.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. For the record, Martin Scribner, Planning and Development Services. So, as you know, over the past year or so, we've been working on some updates, tweaks, amendments to the ULDC that went into effect in January. because we're finding that there are certain things that either didn't carry over or things that we're finding out as we use the code that these maybe didn't work quite the way that we wanted them to. And again, we have sometimes it's members of the building and development community that come to us and say, hey, is there any way we can take a look at this? So I'm going to go over some of those tonight, but that's what we're doing tonight. Some of these are housekeeping. Others are things that we're looking at because of our, again, our public coming in and talking to us. One of the things that we are going to skip tonight in the title of the item is shipping containers. My understanding is that council would like to have a more in-depth conversation about that. So we will bring that one item back to you in January just for discussion. So tonight, staff is removing that from the amendment request. So for tonight, we'll kind of skip over that. You'll see a couple of slides here. I'm going to skip right past those. So we'll start with also, in your staff report, you're going to see that these are listed in order of where they land in the code. I'm going to present them more along the lines of these are the ones that are kind of simple housekeeping things, and then we'll get to the very last one is the one that's the most complicated. So if you have any questions, it might be easiest to stop me during the presentation because there's quite a lot here. So we'll start first with development landscaping. We would like to remove the foundation planning requirements from estate residential, suburban residential, mixed residential, and alternative residential districts. That is because that type of a foundation planning requirement is really aimed more towards commercial and apartments. It's appropriate for those. It is not appropriate for us to tell somebody who's building a single family home that they have to have so much landscaping at the foundation of their home. That's just not, we don't want to regulate that. So we'd like to remove that and leave it for the commercial and apartments. Next is the development review table. So right now, a replat would have to go through the entire process. So say there's a minor change to a plat that was already done and approved. So say there's a lot line moved or there's a lot removed or some of the amenities, detention, something like that changes on the plat. This ordinarily right now would go through the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval. Most of the time when we see these replat requests, they're very, very minor. And so what we'd like to do is to give planning director and staff to approve these administratively rather than take them to P&Z. We feel that that would save them some time. It would clarify a little bit of confusion that is currently in the process. Now, if the replat needs a public hearing, so if there's a variance request or there's some sort of a public utility issue, then those would still go to a public hearing in front of Planning and Zoning Commission for their approval instead of the planning director.
Question: If the replat is denied, what's the appeal process?
If the replat is denied, then they could take it to Planning and Zoning Commission as a matter of course.
So there is recourse.
There still is that release valve, yes. Next is we wanted to add a couple of definitions and clarify another one. So right now the definition of townhouse is in the code and does not clarify the number of units, and it becomes a little bit confusing because there's a couple of other uses that do list out the number of units. So we'd like to just clarify that it's 6 to 8 units in the code. We'd like to add a definition for mobile home. As some of you may or may not know, we have a manufactured home, and there is a difference between a mobile home and a manufactured home legally, and that is from a legislative act that happened in 1972. So if the manufactured home was built before 1972, then it's actually considered a mobile home. And the reason that is even relevant is because there are different regulations for mobile homes on a federal level. So we'd like to make sure that definition's in there. The other definition that we'd like to have in there is container or shipping container. Right now that you won't find anything about shipping containers in the code at all. And so this was the beginning. So this, aside from everything else we discussed that I mentioned that we're taking off the table, I'd like to leave this definition going in. It is the definition that was in the 2014 ULDC code. So it's just taking that and moving it into our current code. It won't affect how it's administered. It just gives us a definition to work from. Residential district dimensions. So let's see, dimensional standards. Right now, in the use table, there is and in the dimensional standards, there are two different uses that get confused all the time. We have one that's single unit attached use, and we have townhouse. To staff, those are the same thing. And so we had a bunch of conversations about this when the ULDC was being formulated by the consultant. And to be honest, we've not seen the need for separating these. These are the same thing. We treat them the same. So in order to get rid of some of that confusion, we'd like to remove any references to single unit attached use from the code wherever it lies. So the first one is in this table 2.21-4, which is the mixed residential dimensions, how that's all laid out. We'd also, in that table, we'd like to add just a clarification on lot width. It's a per dwelling unit. So if it says 20 feet of lot width for townhouses, we're saying per dwelling unit. So if it's 6 dwelling units, then it's 120 feet. Right now, the code does not specify that, but that is how we administer it. And then we'd like to add some table notes at the bottom to just clarify lot area calculation and, again, the number of units for multiplex and townhouse. Consolidated use table. So, again, this is that single unit attached use. We'd like to just remove all references to. So that is what we're requesting here, is to just get rid of it from that table. We also have a section in the code that is standards that are specific to a particular use. So there are two different ones in there that we have kind of dealt with. One is vehicle and boat sales, rental and leasing, and we have already, in our last update, we changed that, the way the limitations are. We had a 13,000 pound, you guys may remember, we had this 13,000 pound limitation, and that is neither realistic or able to be measured by staff. We have no way to enforce that. We were shown a picture a while back of two different trailers that looked identical, and he said one of those is 8,000 pounds, the other one is 15,000 pounds. And the only way he could tell the difference was because the number of lug nuts on the wheels. So that having that 13,000 pound limitation in there didn't make a lot of sense. So we've already changed the language under vehicle and boat sales. We'd like to mirror that language under sale or rental of tools, tractors, or equipment, so that it's the same language. It meets the same purpose. The second piece of that has to do with shipping containers. We're removing that tonight. We'll deal with that later. This is also shipping container, and shipping container. Okay, so here's the one that's probably the most complicated. I'm going to show you, I promise, I'm going to show you some drawings that hopefully will help to clarify this a little bit. So this is regarding garage orientation, where the garage doors are allowed to be in a new single-family home according to where the front of the house is. So the current ULDC, this was new in January, says the garage must be at least 5 feet behind the front house face. So as you can see, it's a very, very simple drawing that shows the garage door itself and the face of the house being offset by 5 feet. Remember that we had a conversation during the ULDC adoption about keeping the 25-foot garage setback. In all of the examples I'm going to show you tonight, the 25-foot garage setback is in place. We're not proposing to change that at all, so keep that in mind. The setback for the face of the house is 15 feet. So it all depends on where you place the garage and how you want to make that work. So the previous code basically allowed, there was no offset requirement. So as you can see here, you could have the garage be way out front, and that was allowed by the code. Our current code does not allow for that. So we, a few months ago, had several local builders come to us and say, hey, this is a problem for us. We do 1 or 2 infill building houses per year, and we have 1 or 2 different floor plans that we use. And the new code regulation causes an issue for us. And so we listened to them, and we said, okay, well, what we are thinking then is a compromise. And so the compromise would, and I'm going to kind of come back to why the code is the way it is. I'll come back to that in a second. The compromise is to allow the garage to be up to 5 foot in front of the front house face, as you can see in this drawing. So it does kind of lend itself to being a little bit garage forward, but not like 25 feet out front where you drive down the street and all you see are garage doors. So staff brought this to the group of builders that we spoke to, and they explained to us that they felt that alleviated about 95% of their concerns. So staff felt that this was a good way to compromise with the builders. It's not ideal, but it's also a step for Baytown where we're being a little bit more particular about design, but then listening to the local folks and saying, okay, well, we can adjust this a little bit. So why did the new code have this 5 foot offset? It really is about aesthetics more than anything. If you've heard the phrase snout houses, so where basically that's you drive down a street and all you see is garages lined up along that street. That's not considered great planning. It's not something that really has a great visual appeal or the aesthetics when you drive down the street. It doesn't lend itself to neighborhood character. We have some neighborhoods here in Baytown that have that, or at least have some of those. And so kind of through encouraging some thoughtful design, encouraging that to enhance property values and market appeal, promoting the walkability and safety, staff feels that and there are other cities around Texas and around the country that have this type of regulation. We do feel that is something that brings value to the city. So I'll give you some examples. These are houses that exist here in Baytown currently. So this is what the current looks like. It's 5 feet behind the house face. There are builders that can do it, and they do it. Some of the larger builders that have lots and lots of different designs, they have no problem doing 5 foot behind the house face. And it can be up to 20 feet behind the face of the house. This is only for attached garages, so keep that in mind as well. This is the previous. This is what I was kind of mentioning. This is something that's very, very garage forward. You can't see the front door. You drive down the street and maybe all you see is garages. This does not really lend itself to neighborliness and, saying hi to your neighbor as you're coming out your front door. You don't use your front door. You use only the garage.
And I got a question, Martin, yes, if you go back to that slide, because I'm just curious how. So on the,
if any of these are any of your houses, I apologize. I didn't take the picture.
I don't think, no, this is not my house. But I'm just curious. So like on that the bottom right, is it measured to the actual front door or to that roof line where it has a little bit of a front porch?
I'm going to guess that this was permitted under the old code, and so it's a bit of a loaded question, but if I were measuring it, I would say on this one, because it's so narrow, that it's to the front door.
Okay. I was just curious.
The new code also has a limitation as to how wide the garage, what percentage of the front of the house the garage door can take up. So as you can see, this one takes up about 80% of the front of the house. And the current code has a 40% limitation.
Okay.
So when you say, okay, I can only put, so let's say under the current code, I've got to put that front door 5 feet in front of where the garage is. Well, what do you have down the side of the house? Because you've got a very narrow lot. What do you have down the side of the house? You have a hallway that is really pretty much wasted space for the homeowner. And so, and it's extra cost in terms of building materials and design. So that was one of the issues that the local builders brought up was if we do this, number one, we got to redesign our plans. But number two, it leaves us, because we do all these narrow lots, it leaves us with this space that we can't do anything with, and people don't want that. So it makes it difficult to market some of those homes. So one of the other pieces of this is to remove that 40% limitation, and we look at on a case by case by the width of the lot and the design and how to make that work. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the proposed is up to 5 feet in front of the house face. Again, these are not, we didn't go out and measure these, but by eyeballing these, we're figuring these are all about 5 foot. Now, they could build it. It still allows them to build the garage behind the front house face or right up to it. They just can't build past that 5 foot mark in front of it. So that's what you're looking at here. You still get a little bit of a garage forward design, but it doesn't create the visual barrier that having the garages, those snout houses really presents. So, all in all, staff and Planning and Zoning Commission, we had this public hearing in November, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval of the proposed amendments to ULDC. And so, again, if you make a motion to approve tonight, staff would ask that you specify the criteria by saying we're approving everything except for anything that had to do with the shipping containers, save the definition. So with that, that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments?
Just a comment from me, Mayor. I can get my, there you go. I was one of the ones that asked about waiting on the shipping containers, and I know, especially within my district, that I have a lot of just empty slabs and some new businesses that are opening up as shipping containers. I know we saw some at ICSC. That is a national brand that uses a shipping container. Actually uses 2 shipping containers stacked on top of each other. And so I don't want to discount those as we're looking for new development or new businesses in the area where a shipping container may be a little less costly for them to set up shop. So I want to have more conversation around that, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of wait on that one. But
if I could give you a little bit of a heads up on kind of what staff is thinking for that conversation. We are looking at coming back in January to have a full conversation, but we need a little bit of time to get some more information because we want to see what other cities are doing with shipping containers. We don't think it would be a great idea to just allow people to drop shipping containers wherever they want. So what regulations do we need? What would that look like? What does that mean? What does enforcement look like? What are the other cities around the state and around the country doing with that? What are the trends? So that's what we're going to be bringing back to you in a work session to kind of talk through. And then after we get some feedback from council, we will come back later with changes to the code to reflect that.
I appreciate that. And because I know that when Councilmember Presley was here, he took us on a tour to a business. It's a restaurant out at, what was it, Discovery Green. That's actually a shipping container. So just wanted to keep that window open for further discussion.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
Something to add on that as well. I'm one of those, I'm going to be advocating for us to be less restrictive with the shipping containers from the perspective of if a property, as a property owner, if I want to go up to one of the local hardware stores and purchase a corrugated metal storage building and I can put it on my lot, we need to also consider that shipping containers could be used for that purpose. The limit is they're 8 foot wide, and if you have less than 8 foot on the side of your house, you can't get a shipping container back into your backyard, so you would be precluded from using that. But if you got a 100-foot wide lot and you want to put a 8 by 10 foot shipping container in the back as a storage shed, if a storage shed is allowed, why couldn't they use that? So I want to keep that perspective because it's a lot more structural than a regular thing. But there's some restrictions to it, because if you can't get it past the edge of your house, you can't have it. But if you can, and you're allowed to have another, storage facility, storage building in your back, we should look at that should be allowed.
I'm really tempted to get into the meat of it tonight, but when staff brings it in to discuss with council, we're going to be looking to you guys for that direction for the code itself. So if that's what is the consensus, then we'll work that into it.
So but I agree with Councilwoman Laura Alvarado that the shipping containers are starting to be used in a variety of ways. I've seen a lot of new housing that's built. They bring shipping containers in and configure them and then build around them, and the houses are huge and beautiful. You'd never know it was shipping containers if you hadn't seen the construction. So we need to be a little more flexible with those things. So that's my only comment.
Bill, anyone else? Now, is this 4B at the bottom here? Lord have mercy. Cecil? Cece? Did anyone sign up to speak on 4B, as in boy? Okay.
That would be 4A, sir.
4A. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, now we know we don't have anyone for B. It's terrible. Can you read that? All right, good deal. Well, Martin, I appreciate the presentation. We're now on to 4B. Consider an ordinance authorizing a request to amend Chapter 111, Unified Land Development Code, ULDC of the Baytown Code of Ordinances to revise to... Oh, you know what? You're right. It is now 7:27, and I close this public hearing. 4B, consider an ordinance authorizing a request to amend Chapter 111 Unified Land Development Code, ULDC of the Baytown Code of Ordinances to revise Divisions 2.21, 2.31, 2.32, 2.33, 3.22, 3.42, 7.210, and 10.2 of the ULDC regarding garage offsets, shipping containers, and general corrections in consistency with the previous code and the 2025 code. Anyone signed up to speak on 4B? Good deal. All right. You had a comment?
No.
Okay. I need a motion.
Motion to accept item 4B, with the exception of the shipping containers and only the definition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
No, I had it written here.
No, that's all Scott was doing this. That's why I was like waiting.
4C, conduct a public hearing concerning a request to approve a special use permit to allow short-term rental use within the suburban residential zoning district located at 5111 Ashwood Drive, Baytown, Texas 77521. It is now 7:28 p.m. and I will call to order this public hearing concerning the request to approve a special use permit to allow the short-term rental use within the suburban residential zoning district located at 5111 Ashwood Drive, Baytown, Texas 77521. I would like now to request staff to summarize the subject of this public hearing. Mr. Scribner.
Thank you, Mayor. So you're probably looking at this one since it came up in November and ended up getting tabled and saying, we've never seen this before. And you're correct, you have never seen this before. So this would be something new for you as a decision-making body. So with that, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to why it's here and kind of what we're dealing with. So in the old code, short-term rentals, Airbnb, Vrbo, things like that, they were not permitted. They were interpreted as hotels, which of course are not permitted in residential districts. They operate anyway. So we believe that legally prohibiting them altogether is probably not going to fly, but we can regulate them. So given the current trends around the state, around the country, the 2025 ULDC includes a provision that does permit short-term rentals in most residential districts as long as they meet certain criteria. So one of them being special use permit. So the first one is before you tonight. So as you can see from the clip on the screen, this is from the ULDC. The SUP is required anywhere that this use is allowed. Plus there are 5 conditions that need to be met as well. And that is that they do have to pay the hot tax, that in order to be considered a short-term rental, they can only be rented for up to 28 days. They cannot use an accessory structure as a short-term rental. The principal use of the building must be a single-unit dwelling, and the use has to be conducted in such a way that the residential character is still what is enjoyed by the neighborhood. And that's a little on the vague side, but that kind of does also give us some room to slide around with that. But basically, it's a home. It has to look like a home, smell like a home, act like a home, even though you've only got people in there for short times. Before I give you the details of the request tonight, I do want you to understand that there are already quite a few short-term rentals out there that we know of, probably 90 or more around the city. So we do expect there to be a lot more of these coming in over time, unless I know that we do plan on having another conversation about short-term rentals and how they're handled sometime in the near future. Until then, this is the process that is dictated by the code. So one thing that needs to be clarified right up front and kept in mind, many of our neighborhoods do have deed restrictions and covenants that would prevent this type of use or potentially prevent this type of use. Some of those deed restrictions and covenants are not super clear. Some of them are a little on the vague side. City staff does not interpret deed restrictions or covenants. We don't account for those restrictions. We don't review them. The reason is we don't have the authority as a city to do that. Those are a private agreement between the HOA and all of the people who own homes there. So we can't consider that as part of this special use permit as an argument for or against. It is not in our authority as a city to do so. That means you can't consider it as part of the special use permit. I don't want you to get caught up in that argument because that is a big piece of why Planning and Zoning Commission said they didn't like it, and I'll get more into that as well. There are a lot of legal issues potentially to consider in that sort of a situation, and so it's really up to a judge to make that call. It is not up to us. And I will always look to our city attorney, Mr. Lamond, to back up everything I just said. We'll take that his smile means that everything I said was at least on the face true.
Mr. Scribner is correct. As he mentioned a moment ago, leasing is considered to be a fundamental property right in the state of Texas. So banning these altogether is almost certainly unconstitutional. However, we do have the right to regulate them. I will say that there is no Supreme Court decision on these. There are appellate court cases, so we have looked at this issue extensively. There's no statute that tells us we can't do this or how to do it. So this is not a field that has been preempted by the legislature. So they have not addressed this in a way that would prohibit us from regulating short-term rentals.
I do know of some other cities in Texas, particularly touristy cities out in western Texas, that use the special use permit process for exactly this, and they're doing 1,000 to 1,200 of those across the city. So this is not something I want to do 1,000 of, but if it's something that helps us regulate and helps us keep track of them and kind of keeps them. I think keeps the operators of the short-term rentals accountable on their toes, then this to us does speak to that and say that this is something that makes sense. The other piece that I want you to keep in consideration is that the special use permit tonight, if it gets approved, does not supersede the deed restrictions or the covenants. Okay, so what happens tonight, those deed restrictions and covenants, if they are enforced by the people who are parties to them, those would override the special use permit. So I want you to keep that in mind. This does not override those deed restrictions or covenants.
Mayor, can I ask a question? Real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Martin, when you say to regulate the if there's 90 Airbnbs in the city and council doesn't want to have to go through an SUP for 90 different Airbnbs, can they ask staff to put proposed regulations in place to change the OLDC to not be a SUP, but to have stiff regulations that can be annually reviewed by staff to meet those regulations? That way they're not coming back to council each and every time. And that can also be checked on and have proper regulatory authority for these Airbnbs or short-term rentals.
It can.
Okay.
And so that you know, many cities, and I believe we use it to some extent, at least for the hot tax, keeping track of hot tax. Many cities use an outside source to do that, to enforce the regulations, to keep track of them, and to do a regular search for, they go through all the different short-term rental apps to see what's out there and then check up on those. And if we were to do that, then we would probably look at some budget adjustments next year to do something like that.
From our conversations and for council's knowledge, there are many processes to look at here. We've seen cities that charge $2,000 to $3,000 a year to be able to get this permit for a short-term rental that pays for the outside company to monitor, to also do security for these venues. They have high insurance requirements to make sure that it's a way to make sure that things don't get out of control at a short-term rental, because the more problems that you have at these short-term rentals, the higher the insurance costs are going to be. And so it's a way to keep some of these things in check. But it opens up a gambit of conversation for the city council. We wouldn't be doing our duty if we didn't have all that available to you. But this is just the first SUP that has come to this city council for consideration.
So what I'd ask you to do is to concentrate on the criteria that's in your staff report tonight to make your decision. That is what staff has, that's what the code says we're supposed to be looking at. I know that you're going to hear from some people here tonight that have other concerns, and obviously you have to listen to that and take that into account as well. But from staff's standpoint, the criteria are the piece that kind of says, okay, this either meets our standards or it does not. So I want to get into the details of the application that you're hearing tonight. So all that was general knowledge stuff. Now we're going to get into the actual request. So this is a property located at 5111 Ashwood Drive in Country Club Oaks. It is zoned suburban residential, as you can see here. That's a mid-sized lot, single family detached. As you can see, that whole area is also zoned SR. I'm going to show you just a few pictures of the property itself and some of the other nearby properties. So you can see this is a well-maintained home. You can see the white arrow pointing at the actual house at 5111. And you can see that the neighborhood, it's your kind of standard suburban neighborhood. It's very nice. Again, here's the house kind of looking the other direction, looking southeast. And then this is just looking straight on to the property in the request. So this was heard by Planning and Zoning Commission in in October. And Planning and Zoning Commission heard lots of folks that were testifying for and against this property becoming short-term rental. And it was really kind of split. But the Planning and Zoning Commission did have some pretty major concerns, and some of them were things that they heard from the public. Some of them were ones that they espoused at the dais. So one commissioner talked about the required distance for public notice. They wanted the entire neighborhood to know about this. We have a requirement. We follow that requirement. It is more than what the state requires, and so we don't generally go over and above that unless there's a change to the ordinance. Somebody mentioned this is basically a bed and breakfast. It's not consistent with the residential nature of a neighborhood, that there are difficulties with monitoring this unless they're being observed by the surrounding neighbors. The enforcement of the short-term rental regulations was brought up as a concern. The potential for neighborhood nuisance was also a big concern. Group gatherings, parties, things like that. This applicant has an ad for the rental that kind of made it sound like maybe this was a place that they would be encouraging parties or allowing parties. Somebody said, if this is in my neighborhood, I would have concern not knowing my tenants. Are there criminals that would be in there doing nefarious things? Of course, that could be anybody in any house, but that was a concern that was brought up. And then again, like I said, that potential conflict that's created by the SUP approval itself with the homeowners association that would require them to sue the homeowner to enforce that HOA regulation or restriction. Again, that was something we told them multiple times. This is not part of your process it's not in your authority to make a decision based on that. But they did voice that quite loudly. So staff had recommended approval of the special use permit. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimously to deny the special use permit to allow short-term rental at 5111 Ashwood Drive. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions. The applicant, Mr. Dahl, is also here tonight, and I believe would be addressing you as well.
Dale, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can we go back about 4 slides? 2 more. 1 more. Right there. It was 5. My bad. Yeah. You read my mind.
That's what I said. See, I wrote it in right there.
Yeah, the use shall be conducted so that it does not unreasonably interfere with the peace and enjoyment of surrounding homes as places of residence. How are we defining peace and enjoyment? Well, I can understand music, loud noise, things like that, but I would imagine someone may complain that there's an obscene amount of cars in the driveway or on the road, although we have that going on in just about every neighborhood. Would that fall under interfering with the peace and enjoyment of the surrounding homes as places of residence?
It could. As with any neighborhood, the enforcement process is going to be the same. If there's a lot of litter and debris, if there's noises, if there's cars parked in the street, then many of those are going to be calls to the police for immediate, hey, come on out here and take a look at this, which sometimes they can do something, sometimes they can't. If it's noise, again, if it's 6 o'clock on a Wednesday, they're not going to do much about it. If it's 11 o'clock on a Sunday, that might be a different story. This, I believe, we often say that the ULDC doesn't have a lot of common sense stuff in it. I think this is one of those common sense type of things where if we get enough complaints, then that's something where we can look at it and go, okay, this no longer smells, acts, or feels like a house. This is something else now. So I know Mr. Lamond had something.
So, Council and Mr. Mayor, to get back to your question, if you recall the comment I made a moment ago, that leasing property is a fundamental right. So in terms of the use, although we're talking specifically about short-term rentals, what we're really talking about is the use, which is to lease your home, which is fundamental. So the issues of noise or too many cars or trash, those are the same issues that come up when your neighbors sell their house to somebody else or lease it for a year or 2 years. So in this instance, what we're really talking about is the lease of the property for 28 days or less.
Okay.
And I think, to piggyback on what Mr. Lamond just said, one of the things that we also heard about this was, does this not now become a commercial use? Does this not now become a business? And the answer is, from the law's perspective, from standing outside the house, whether you lived there for a day or 5 days or 5 years, it's still a house being lived in by X number of people. So that has to be, again, first and foremost in your mind. This does not become a commercial use. It's still a house. It's still being used as a house. It's still having people live there. They're just not there as long. So again, to kind of piggyback on the legal side of things, it is what it is.
Got you. Questions or comments?
So, kind of going back to this, the character. So it's not, because, we're talking about moving forward that there would most likely be they'd be paying an annual permit, annual fee to maintain this. But right now, that's not part of that. Like, if we're going to talk about doing that, that's something that if you're getting constant calls and this is happening, your permit is revoked to operate that place. We don't have that in place right now at this moment. If that was in place, this would be a different scenario. That is not in place yet. So
that was my feedback to y'all.
Yeah, it's not in place yet.
So that exact thing. I'm not trying to get involved in the conversation here. I'm trying to clarify what I was trying to say to y'all. This is one of those, because it's brand new. It's a novel thing for the council. This is one of those things where the council can say, we're tabling this until the regulations are put forward by the planning development team that y'all agree on. And so that because there are a multitude of ways to look at this. And Mr. Franco, to your point, some cities have, if you violate it once, shame on you. If you violate it twice, you're suspended. After the third violation within a year time frame, you are no longer allowed to apply for a short-term rental permit for a year. And so those are the steps that are put in, because to Mr. Lamont's point, you can't bar them as we currently see it in the law, but you can regulate them. And the regulations haven't been put in place. And once you do this SUP, as Mr. Scribner said, you will have 89 more to do, because the other 89 by this would be required to come do this SUP process because they're not operating legally how we currently have it set up right now.
It's already required. They just haven't come forward. And this particular case was spurred by a complaint that we then went out to find out what was going on, and we spoke to the owner, and we said, okay, this is the process you got to go through.
Yeah, and once we open that box, everybody's going to come before we put the regulations in.
I mean, it's already open, to be honest.
Yeah, I get it. And right now, as it's coming in, we can keep tabling them or deny them until we get the regulations in.
That is your purview.
Exactly.
Question. Martin, boy, I hate regulations. How quickly could you reasonably bring us a full package of, as has been indicated, some type of, not only these 5, but they have to have an annual permit with the restrictions of you get 1, 2, 3 strikes in a 12 consecutive month period, and then you have a year suspension, so forth and so on. How quickly could you and your staff bring that forward?
My initial response was going to be 2 years, just to get your reaction, but I'm not saying that.
That quick?
So once we have something, like we would have to do some research, again, see what other cities, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So I want to see what other cities are doing. And then we could likely lift some rigs from another city if we like them. And then the question, I have a couple of questions on that lead into your timeline question. And that is, do we come back here to say, do you like these? Because if they're in the ULDC, I got to go back to P&Z with those regulations before you decide on them. So if you're saying, staff, you know what we want, go forward and get this done, then we could have this in front of P&Z, if not January, February, and then we could have those regulations to you the first meeting after P&Z, let's say February. Let's say end of February at this point.
And that's my concern, because right now we have rules and regulations right here in front of us that we should be complying with as a city. We set these. So if we set them and somebody complies with them, here we are dragging our feet that we don't want to comply with the rules that we've established. that gets a little monotonous.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's some of those, you know, hindsight's 20/20. We should have thought about this before we approved something like this, but it's here. So if we can move forward as expeditiously as possible, do your research. I mean, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Obviously, there's cities that are doing this now. Grab what they've got, clean it up, bring it to us, and let's move forward. I agree with regulating them. I also agree with our city attorney that we're going to get in legal
we are.
trouble real quick if we try to prohibit this. So let's regulate them. And we may get in legal trouble anyway because we have rules that says they can do this according to our rules.
Councilman Lesser, I also, as we were standing here talking, it occurred to me there is a release valve for that as well that's built in. And that is that right now, the SUP says if you do not follow these criteria, the planning director has the ability to basically pull your SUP.
Okay.
Now that means you have to trust me to make that call, but it is better than the alternative, which is nothing at all.
And I appreciate the relief valve, but that puts you in a precarious spot because it's not real clear. Again, number 5, residential character. It's not real clear as to what causes them to default, and that really puts staff in the city in a position that we don't need to be in.
Yeah.
But that's my I was leaning towards not necessarily approving the SUP tonight, but after hearing some of this stuff, it's kind of, we're really in a catch-22.
Yeah.
And if you can tell, if you're telling me that we could get back in the next 60, 90 days, preferably closer to 60 days, pushing it, to have appropriate regulations that we can apply and then be able to regulate, because I don't want to have 90 of these things in front of me either. I'm willing to possibly table it for 60 days and let's push through this thing through. If you're telling me it's going to be 90, 120, 6 months, I'm going to be caught saying I'm going to have to go with what we've got on the books because we put it on the books.
Yeah, we did.
And we get hammered all the time that we're difficult to work with and this and that. And part of that is we put stuff down on paper and then we don't adhere to it.
That's right.
I would put.
I mean, it's a tough place for us to be as well tonight.
I would put one other little caveat to that, and that is that Mr. Reynolds had mentioned that, if we were to use a third party for this, that could end up taking us a little bit longer because, quite frankly, I'm not sure if we had to enforce a whole bunch of these, I'm not sure we have the staff time to do that, to add on to our, our mantra has been to try and
Galveston Island does a pretty good job with this. They have a pretty good plan already in place. They use the Parks Board because these do pay towards tourism, the hot fund, and all the applications go to the Parks Board, Parks and Tourism Board in Galveston. Those are approved by them and regulated through the code officers. There are numerous processes in place, and to Martin's point, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are a bunch of processes already in place that could probably be expedited.
I don't know how.
But it's a fair point, Martin.
Comments on that, Mayor.
Yeah.
If we can short-term delay this and move it forward, because it's not fair to the applicant, it's not fair to the residents to keep dragging this out. But if we can,
2 years was good, right?
not like getting a permit, right? But if we can do something pretty expeditiously, or if we just want to. If we approve this tonight and then we bring those rules forward, would it be retroactive to those that have an SUP? Let's say we approve this tonight.
I think you could make it part of your approval, probably.
Then when we come up, when we do an annual permit process, can we go back and add the ones that we have approved to that permit process?
And I would agree with Martin. If that's the plan, I would say have a clause in there that the SUP, that one of the provisions to be complied with is that when and if new SUP ordinances are adopted, that the owner will comply with the new ordinances.
The owner is here tonight, so you might ask the owner that question if he'd be willing to be okay with that that compromise. But I'll leave that to him.
And I'm still going to state, going with 5 that it's chuck a duck so that it does not necessarily interfere with the peace and enjoyment of the surrounding homes and place. And we have a lot of people on Ashwood that's saying it's not going to enjoy. They're not going to. It's going to interfere with their peace and enjoyment. So that we have them that have already stated that and already told us that. So
we're going to go ahead and call speakers.
So again, Mr. Dahl is here, and so I'd like to bring him up and have him kind of, he has something prepared for you.
Okay, well, let's. Oh, over there. Okay, good deal.
Come on up.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. How much time I have? 3 minutes. Okay. Good evening. My name is Sandeep Dahl, and I'm a resident of 2432 Atame Lane, Leander, Texas 78641. And I'm the owner of 5111 Ashwood Drive. I want to address valid safety concerns first. I take vetting seriously. My Airbnb listing requires guests to have positive reviews, and that has been being done by Airbnb almost everywhere in the world in the same way. But I have also submitted to planning department all the rejections I have done as an evidence just when I was suspicious of any party or any event taking place. So I've submitted various rejections, which I did, and I refused those applications. Now, there are new tools which I would go even further than these 5 parameters which you have mentioned here. The 6th can be, last time somebody said, sex offenders. I said I use a software called Hospitable to manage my property. That software has another thing called as ID verification and another one as a $2 for sex offender check. We can add that into this as 6 or 7 if needed to make sure that the hosts check all these things before approving any booking. Now, another thing which I wanted to mention here is that one council member last time said that the gathering house, English is my second language, honorable members. I speak very well English, but still I thought a gathering house, in my opinion, was people meet as families together, and that's what, it was 5 bedrooms. I thought, they will enjoy togetherness. That was my meaning. I have removed that name from there. Then the second thing, another member said that I must have done some massive plumbing project to make it as a big project. I want to put on record, I have not done any plumbing or any small or big project onto that house. It is as I bought, it is still as the same. I want to request you to consider a regulation with this 5 or any additional requirements. I will abide by all the rules. I have also put this house on sale right now if I'm not able to meet this thing, because mortgage requirements for myself as well as my housekeeper she's a Baytown person. I don't live in Baytown, but my cleaner and housekeeper depend their livelihood on this, and they work on that. And then I think most of the people who come are project people, family people. They live here. They come here for a week, or somebody who is a travel nurse. They come and work in the medical offices. Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
Well, yeah, I want to extend this time to.
Okay.
I motion to yield. Is 2 minutes good?
So I just wanted to make sure
well,
that.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
We're motioning to yield time. Motion is 2 minutes good.
2 minutes good.
I motion to yield 2 minutes to Mr. Dahl. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. So I would request you all to please consider the full economic impact, last on me, but by my housekeeper, as well as all these families and professionals. Like some of these people who have come and stayed with us are the people who have, say, a plumbing leak in their house. I get so many inquiries for people who have insurance disaster in the house, or somebody who is traveling, or somebody who has a family event and they want to live with their kids for some taking care of their grandkid or something. So there are certain families who are moving also in these. It is not only for Airbnbs are not only for people who are partying. You know, if you go to say social media, you will see all those kind of things. But there are so many things happening and this provides a safe neighborhood, safe place for these people who want to live in neighborhoods and enjoy the neighborhood and the community feeling and live like they're living in their own homes. That's the purpose of their own purpose. And I will abide by any of these or any additional requirements, and I will answer any questions, sir.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
As the city attorney mentioned, would you be willing, if we added a number 6, I like you to add your number 6 on there as far as doing the background check. I think that's great. That'll relieve some concerns. But if we added a number 7 that said that as we develop the new regulations on this, you would be willing to comply with the new regulations?
I will comply with all regulations, now and future.
Thank you.
Good deal. Okay. Thank you, sir. James Kilburn. Please state your address for record.
Good evening. My name is James Kilburn. I live at 5001 Ashwood, block and a half down the road from this house. First off, I'd like to thank Mr. Dahl for coming, and we'd appreciate him being a supporting member of our Country Club Oaks Civic Association. We are not an HOA. I have concerns of additional traffic, and I realize it's one house, but we have people now that go driving down these roads very fast, and a lot of these roads don't have stop signs or anything on them. They're young children out on the roads. I have a concern for that safety factor on there. We had an Airbnb in the neighborhood several years ago. As police chief may remember, some of the officers, I think, were frequent visitors, had frequent parking permits in that area because they were there so often. I think there were gunshots, litter, partying, different things going on. We do have that concern. And I found Mr. Scribner, and I believe the solicitor made the comment about this not being considered a business. And yet I'm looking at this table that's up here. Short-term rental, number 1, a hotel motel occupancy tax to be collected. I think that's a business. If not, I would appreciate somebody please telling me why Sheraton or Marriott is not considered a business. Thank you very much for your time, and appreciate your considering both sides of this.
Thank you. Is that Schultz? What is your first name? Keenan Schultz. Please state your address.
Thank you. It's Keenan Schultz, 5008 Ashwood Drive. And, of course, a lot of the things that have already been said about the safety and things. What we're seeing in our neighborhood there, it's a nice established area. People have been around there a long time. A lot of old families live there. And as a result of that, a lot of those families, the people that live there, they get old, they pass away, they pass it down to their children, the houses get sold. In our neighborhoods, we have a lot of homes that are being sold, renovated. I actually live in a house that was sold and renovated under that same kind of criteria. But if you start putting B&Bs in there, or Airbnbs, what happens is that where does the slippery slope end? Those neighborhoods that are nice and established and have families, and even a few leases in there where they're long-term, and those people that are leasing have a vested interest in that area, as opposed to like an Airbnb where it's only weeks or days at a time. They have an investment in that property. And my concern is by putting something in here and allowing that to start propagating itself, when will that neighborhood no longer be a nice family neighborhood? And those are my biggest concerns on that, because I do live there. I've been living there for 10 years. And one of the things I like about my neighborhood
Marie Dranowski, Country Club Oaks Civic Association President, 4705 Burning Tree. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am here on behalf of Country Club Oaks Subdivision and the Country Club Oaks Civic Association. Our deed restrictions specifically state the lots in Country Club Oaks shall be used for single-family resident purposes only, and no business, as we have already seen, a hotel. Trade or activity of any kind shall be carried on upon any of the lots in this subdivision, nor shall anything be done which may be or become an annoyance to this neighborhood. For these reasons, we respectfully ask that you deny the special use permit to operate an Airbnb or any other short-term rental property within our neighborhood. A neighborhood is more than a cluster of houses. It is a community. It is a place where people know one another, form lasting relationships, watch out for each other, and take pride in their homes. It's where a neighbor waters your plants or feeds your pets when you're away. That is the spirit that has always defined Country Club Oaks. Allowing a short-term rental undermines that spirit. A constant turnover of unfamiliar visitors eliminates the opportunity to build connections, erodes stability, and weakens the shared sense of responsibility that makes the neighborhood strong. The property owner has suggested that short-term rentals will bring economic benefits to Baytown. Respectfully, we disagree. Short-term guests contribute very little, maybe a meal or a few purchases, but not the consistent investment that full-time residents provide. Families who live here year-round support our grocery stores, buy clothing and furniture, purchase school supplies and electronics, contribute in countless other ways. They invest in Baytown because they belong to Baytown. And importantly, Baytown already offers excellent options for temporary visitors. The hotels along Garth Road are well equipped for extended stay guests, including plant workers and business travelers. They have kitchens, business centers, and comfortable living spaces, amenities that single-family homes cannot and should not be expected to provide. The property owner has not demonstrated how a short-term rental would bring any meaningful benefit to Country Club Oaks, benefits that a long-term homeowner doesn't already offer. Instead, it would introduce instability, unease, and a revolving door of strangers into a community that has always been a close-knit and steady. So tonight, I ask you, Mr. Mayor and council members, to consider your own neighborhoods. Would you want a commercial mini hotel functioning next door to you, your home, or in close proximity to your home? I don't think you do. On behalf of the residents of Country Club Oaks, I urge you to deny this special use permit. Protect our community, preserve our neighborhood, and help keep Country Club Oaks the kind of place we are proud to call home. I'm going to add this extra. We've had people come here the last meeting, which was canceled. We do have people here tonight from the subdivision, and I wish you would read a couple letters that were emailed to you about other short-term rentals that we had and the problems that those neighbors had. And I'm asking for an extra minute since you gave him an extra time.
Let me go through it, but I got to let you know that's your time.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to
make a motion to extend your time by 2 minutes?
Okay. He motioned. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You have 2 minutes.
Okay. Doing this, comments were emailed to you, and I hope you read those comments that were emailed to you, because these are people that have experienced having VRBOs right there that we had experienced with several years ago that we had to have closed down. Why destroy established neighborhoods like this? If you put one of these in, you're going to have two, you're going to have three. Country Club has a lot of large homes, and that's what's going to happen to them. Someone's going to come in and want to put VRBOs. And let's face it, most of the people coming in here are coming from the plants, and they're staying there. Why not put short-term rentals outside of established neighborhoods? Why ruin your established neighborhoods? Country Club Cove, Lakewood, all of the neighborhoods are going to start losing if you start allowing these things happening. Thank you.
Kyle Rhodes.
Kyle Rhodes, 5111 Glenhaven. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. Firstly, I'd like to state that I did not receive a mailed letter this time about this being on the agenda. I'm within the 300 foot. I received it on the prior notification. So that needs to be looked at, Mr. Scribner. The City Council has already addressed, one of my concerns is that there are lack of regulations and people to enforce these regulations. I'm also a little confused that you have a commercial use, not a residential use, and that with hotel tax, and that does not make it a business. The neighborhood was started in 1959. The area this is in is a 100 by 120 foot lot. This is a large home. Parking is going to be a concern. It is an established neighborhood. It is an old neighborhood. Prior to this year, it was not allowable by the city code to do this. I think this was a mistake. I understand that other cities are doing this, and I understand that the regulations need to be in place ahead of time. I urge you not to retroactively do this. If you have 90 cases already in existence, operating illegally according to the code, those permits should be allowed to be pulled by development ahead of time and not be considered for 1 year. My advice on this is graduate studies, economics, geography, and 3 bachelor's degrees, including accounting, management, and history. Thank you for your time.
Cecil? No Cecil. No CC.
Well, here.
Good evening. My name is Cecil Carroll. I live over in the residential area of Country Club, 5009 Interlochen Street. Basically, just like all the other people had brought attention to, one of the major that it is in that area is residential. Residential. And the children and so forth, and the people, the families that are there, that, how do I put it, that live there, and the values that they have of being there, being in Baytown. I grew up in Baytown. I'm very familiar with Baytown. I've gone on and, of course, went California. Come back to California, been to different states around. But something always pulled me back to Baytown. And my wife and I, she went to one high school and I went to the other one. But to shorten the story up, the main concern that we do have, or myself and my family, is that family is family. When we start bringing businesses in next door to family, it presents a problem. If you're prepared for that, when you go and buy property, it's in a sense of, I'm going there to get residential property. But if I'm going commercial or industrial, completely different. Completely different. And this is all I know to say or ask is that you will take everything into consideration, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any comments or questions? Yes, sir. That's all the speakers, yeah.
Yeah, so when I initially came into this, I thought I knew what decision I was going to make. And then I heard the lawyer say that word property rights, and I had to take a step back. And then I heard another term, this is a business. And then I'd get locked back in. And I guess the issue is this is a modern day issue with these Airbnbs. It's we're 15, 20 years from this, and we're grappling with, our federal laws and our federal rights, and we're grappling with our zoning. I believe this is a business. It's operating as a business, and I feel that it's benefiting from a loophole to operate as a business in neighborhoods. It's such a. I would like to get more regulations. Sit back and really. I know you don't like the word regulations. I don't like the word. I don't like the word trampling on people's property rights either. So this is where we're at, and it's in my mind. This is a business. We're collecting hot taxes from them. It's as a business, and it's a business. It's not somebody's it doesn't become somebody's home. It becomes a place of business and commerce for them. So I don't, sir.
I'm sorry, sir. Finish your comment. I was hoping to piggyback.
Yeah, I don't. I guess I want to hear from you, legal, but wouldn't that constitute a business?
I think that's a great question, and I'm going to answer it first by saying under the current ULDC, this is an allowed use, and it's not defined as a commercial use. I will also say that when we talk about fundamental property rights, we're talking about the...
Sir, we're not going to have the outburst.
Point of order.
But it says right there, commercial use, but don't tell me it's not.
So as I was saying, Council, under the current ULDC, this is a use that is allowed, and it's not defined as a commercial use. When we go to the issue of fundamental property rights, we're talking about cases that have been decided by both the Texas Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court. And what they have said is that in that bundle of rights that you have as a landowner is the fundamental right to lease your property. And yes, you're right. We are in a new era of short-term rentals, something that has not been contemplated in the past. But the courts have been taking up this issue. And on those occasions where they've taken up the issue, they have stated first that leasing of your property is fundamental. So the government is not going to be able to ban these types of uses outright. What we can do is place reasonable restrictions on them. And I know that is not a definitive answer, but it's the best answer that we have sitting here at this moment. And of course, we can go back and talk more in depth about the constitutional cases that sort of make up this new body of law. And we can consider any potential regulations that staff comes up with when you want to take this up again. But at least for the public section, at this moment, that's the best answer I have for you.
Mr. Lamond, I would also add that I've worked in other states where this type of use, basically the state legislation took it up and said these are now Texas hasn't done this. Okay, so let me be real clear. Texas has not made this determination, but other states have made a determination where they've said, okay, now they're allowed anywhere a house is. In cities, you can't regulate them. Would Texas do that? It's possible, but that's just something to have in your brain.
And
Yes, sir.
I got a comment. I'm sitting here thinking, talking about short-term rental, there's no opposition to long-term rental. And I was sitting there thinking, I chuckled because I've got two personal friends that own 20 or 30 rent houses. And let me tell you, that's a business.
Yeah.
So long-term rental versus short-term rental, I got the concerns. There's not an investment to the neighborhood because they're there short-term, but long-term rentals, 1 year, 2 year leases, it's a business as well.
It is.
I mean, if you want to look at it from a rentals perspective, because again, I got one friend that's got 20 houses here in Baytown, and they do well.
Yeah.
They do very well. So again, it goes down to the ultimate property rights. Short-term, this is a new age. I mean, short-term rentals weren't even discussed 15, 20 years ago or whatever. So it's something new. If we're allowed to regulate it and build in some SUPs and build some safeguards that if it starts to be a nuisance or whatever, then we can suspend or punish the violators a little bit. That's where we need to go with it. But what I'm hearing is we would be hard pressed to just say no, and that's my concern. But I chuckled that again. My friends that own lots of rental property in town, they do long-term rentals, but it's a business to them, and they run it as a business. So, and I know we can't regulate that.
I have a counter question to that is we don't collect hot taxes on long-term rentals.
No. I don't know.
But we
I
do.
don't know, we
but we can on
potentially
short-term
could.
rentals.
I don't think we can.
We can't. No, we can't.
I think the hot tax is set up specifically to capture 30 days and it's shorter. And we do have definitions of hotel and extended stay and so forth in the current ULDC. So I'm not suggesting that there is no way to regulate the commercial aspect of what's going on. I'm just suggesting that as it sits here today, this is not a commercial use.
Remember, too, that as a special use permit request, if you think there's something specific to this property that makes it more sensitive in certain ways, you can add conditions to it that are reasonable. So I'll just throw that on the table as well. That would be with every single SUP that comes in. You can add conditions to it if you deem that that's necessary.
If we added conditions, I think it needs to be across the board. I would not be doing them like for individual pieces. And you're right. I mean, I have several Airbnbs in my neighborhood, and I would lump my neighborhood in with an established neighborhood. I mean, they were there in the early 1900s. And so we're very established, and we have short-term rentals. We do have Airbnbs, and most of them are for the plant workers. Some of them have been called to attention because they do have stacks of people who are working at the plants, and there's tons of cars. But I don't see that anymore. So whoever called it to their attention or whatever may have happened, it is no longer happening. I mean, I did go back and look at all the Airbnbs in Baytown when this first came up, and you're right, there's quite a bit of them. I am cautious as well to just do a blanket no. Would I rather just not do anything and just let the Airbnbs operate as they do now with no restrictions? Probably not. I mean, if we have an opportunity to add restrictions and to add guidelines, then I would rather do that. But what I am worrying about is the regulation portion of it and the staff that would be doing this and the time that's allowed. And I do understand, Mr. City Manager, you said that it would fall under possibly the Parks and Rec Board. And so what kind of, I mean, these are volunteers, these are constituents as well themselves, and so what would they be running into?
I was just saying
Yeah.
that Galveston runs
Oh
it
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
You just did that as an example, but for me, these are just volunteers and people in the community, and what would they face out in the community from those that feel like you didn't regulate this one right? Why did you allow this one? and not that one. And so I'm kind of cautious about that. I think I want to give it some more time. I do appreciate everyone who has come out to speak and voice their concerns. I did read through the list of items that were presented, and not knowing, who would be moving in. I have a house for sale down the street. I don't know who's going to move in there. I hope it's someone nice. I hope it's someone good. But ultimately, I'm not going to know who's going to move into that home. And I did go through and read all of the letters and everything that was sent to us. And so I want to take a little bit more time just so we figure out all of the rules and regulations that we're going to set up. I know we've already been discussing this is probably the second meeting, and y'all have had it at P&Z even before that. So like Mike, I don't want to take too much more time. But leaning on what state law has said in terms of property rights, I just want to take a little bit more time reviewing the regulations.
I want to thank everybody from Country Club who came out to speak, and I'm going to go back to, again, 5. It does not unreasonably interfere with peace and enjoyment of surrounding the homes as places of residence. That's a part of the SUP permit. It's one of our criteria. And we've clearly heard it's going to interfere with the peace and enjoyment of the surrounding homes.
Yeah.
And that is why I'll be voting no.
Yeah, and honestly, when it first came up, if this was the only one that came to us, I would have said drop it. It's not our purview, because the deed restrictions don't allow it, and I wouldn't have even seen it here. I wouldn't have wanted to see it here, because their deed restrictions would not allow this type of use. But there are others. This isn't the only one, and so I want to take a little more time to review.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I also, to that point,
let me close the public hearing, and we'll come back and do that.
That's good.
I'm going to go ahead and close this public hearing. It is now 8:28 p.m. and this public hearing is closed. You can still have your comment, but we're going to go to D.
Gotcha.
Consider an ordinance to approve a special use permit on an approximately 0.28 acre parcel located at 511 Ashwood Drive, Baytown, Texas 77521, to allow short-term rental use in the suburban residential zoning district. Go ahead with your comment.
Yeah. And just kind of acknowledge.
Not yet. We can have comments still, right?
We typically do take the motion first, but
we're still okay.
We
don't have to do that.
We're still okay if we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess in the spirit of just addressing the issue of deed restrictions, as stated before, the city doesn't enforce deed restrictions. We do not enforce deed restrictions. That's a civil agreement. So, the tough thing is with places like, or neighborhoods like Country Club and Lakewood, which this is an issue for Lakewood, is they don't have a governing HOA to hold their residents accountable to their deed restrictions. This means that they'll try to look at the city do that. We cannot do that. I wanted to stress that to those who came up here. Thank y'all for coming. But understand, your deed restrictions are not for the city to enforce. It is for your LCA or HOA to enforce civilly with the private citizen. So that's just something to think about even moving forward in other issues, is that your deed restrictions are civil agreements with those who move into your neighborhood to enforce civilly in a civil court if needed. So that's all I want to say.
All right, thank you. So after hearing everything,
Jacob.
Oh, I'm sorry, maybe.
Sorry, no, I just want to make a few comments. I mean, this for me. I mean, you've heard me on previous items.
I take everything back to the rights of the property owner, as much as we can within established ordinances, right? Within established code, whatever it may be. In this case, we have a process. We have a special use permit if there are certain items that are followed, and it appears in this case that they are being followed. And so, I mean, for that reason, I do believe we need to approve this as he's following, the owner is following the established regulations as they currently are. Now, I do think, though, if we can, within 60 to 90 days, shore that up a little bit, add some additional regulations, I think that may be the best case. And I do hear, I mean, I appreciate all of y'all that came out and spoke. A lot of the things that were mentioned, traffic, street parking, whatever it may be, I think gunfire got mentioned, loud music. Those aren't really zoning issues or special use permit issues. Those are all things that we have enforcement through other means to address all of those things. And so these aren't introducing anything new that we don't already have enforcement for. And I know one thing was said, consider if this were in your neighborhood. I had a rental right next door to me. It wasn't short term. I wish it was shorter. We had a renter next door. I mean, they were loud. They had folks over all the time. And so, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you might not like what your neighbors do. I would have to ask myself, is that the responsibility of the government to take care of that? Because if we do that in this case, then where does it stop? I mean, you might not like the paint color your neighbor chooses. Some neighborhoods put restrictions in place on that. You've got to get your paint colors approved. But that is the neighborhood deciding those things. It's not the local government. And so I just think, I understand all of your concerns. To me, it's fundamentally, is this an item that the government needs to restrict? And in this case, I think it's not. I think we're allowed to put some regulations, and so I think we need to have some further discussions on that. But I don't think we should just outright, deny it at this point.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mayor, I have a question for you, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you take a vote, I'm just looking at this. I'm hearing the message, which is we do want to shore up the regulations. We do want to come back and have another conversation on this to make things more clear, so that this process can either change directions or can go easier in the future. So my intent would be to bring back a couple of options. If one of those options included not having an SUP process as part of this, but including some more hardcore regulations in terms of, like, we really list things out and then we just go through the normal enforcement process. Is that something that could be an option? Is that something that this council would be willing to look at, or should we focus on keeping the SUP and the additional regulations?
Well, let me make my comments and then we can answer that.
Absolutely.
Okay. I thought I had my mind made up coming here, honestly. I really did. And I've said this plenty of times. I've changed my mind at this dais a lot of times. People probably wouldn't believe how many times I've changed my mind after hearing from my colleagues. Property owner rights, long-term, short-term. There are two things that are really sticking with me. People say that they don't want the government involved in their business. And we have people asking us to get involved in people's business. And case law, what you talked about with the state of Texas, how they've ruled on these things. And the one thing that I do not want to do is set us up to where we're being sued because we're not following law. Okay? I actually have I had an Airbnb across the street, catty corner from me, and they were better neighbors to me than the people who had been there next to me for 10 years. Honestly, the landlord was very responsive. He listened to when people called and had concerns. As far as traffic flow, if you got people coming in and staying, purchasing a new home or a long-term rental, and they have 5 kids like I do, and everybody has a car, you're going to have traffic flow issues for a long time. Believe that. This is tough. We hear you. Believe me when I say we hear you. We hear your concerns. But I got to echo what you just said, Jacob. A lot of these concerns are things that are going to be there. A lot of these things are things we're going to be dealing with regardless. I've had to deal with gunshots in my neighborhood recently, and Chief had some officers come out. Ken came out. We talked about it, and that was from someone that stayed in our neighborhood long term. I'm going to side with regulations, to be honest with you, but I'm not going to say do it in a hurry. I'm going to say take your time so that we're not having to come back and make amendments to what we decide in an ordinance. Take your time, get it right. If it's going to take a little bit longer than 60 days, I don't mind. I just want us to get it right, bring something back to us that we can pass, because if we bring it back in 60 days and there's some things we don't agree with, guess what's going to happen? You're going back to the drawing board to take care of it again anyway. But if we can regulate it, we can hear from the citizens, let us know what you like and what you don't like, so that we can make the best decision for you all and satisfy your concerns. That's what I'm going to lean towards. It's time to take this vote. Y'all ready? Yeah. That's,
And I'd be more than willing to try to piece it together.
let's go.
I move that we approve the SUP based on the original 5 requirements plus 2 additional requirements. Number 6 would be the background/sex offender screening. The owner indicated he'd be willing to do that. And 7 would be that this SUP would comply with future regulations as they're developed.
No, I have a question on the background check.
Good enough?
Question.
He said he uses an external program to do that.
But when they do the background check, every new renter, are we going to require them to show proof of that background check to us to make sure it's happening? No. Or are we just going to take their word on it? Third party.
That'll be part of the new regulation that they come up with.
We don't have that in place right now, so.
Okay. Okay.
I think we have to go in the honor
He already
system.
does an initial screening, but he'd be willing for a few dollars more to do the
Okay.
sex offender screening. I thought that was a great
It is.
option. I don't need to see that, but if it's challenged or there's an issue, then he would have to provide it.
Yeah.
But then the 7th one would be to
Whatever
become compliant with any new regulations that are developed. And I'll say over the next 90, I don't want to put a time frame on it, just whatever new regulations are developed.
Yeah.
That also, as my council colleague indicated, if we have another SUP comes up, then those 7 would also apply.
That's right.
And any new SUP would have to also come into compliance with any new regulations as we develop them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you, residents. Thank you, Mr. Scribner. Thank you, residents, for showing up and voicing your concerns.
Did that cover it?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Now we are on to 5A, proposed ordinances. Consider an ordinance authorizing a Chapter 212 agreement between the City of Baytown and Walmart Stores East LP, including provisions for payments to the city. Mr. Brian Moran.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. Brian Moran, Economic Development. The Baytown Forward team has been working closely with Walmart to renew their existing industrial district agreement and transitioning into a longer-term Chapter 212 agreement. We believe that this agreement really represents a significant step in securing long-term stable growth and continued investment for the city, while also serving and continuing to serve as a strategic hub for Walmart's continued operations. The proposed agreement is a 45-year term, extending through December 31st of 2070. As part of this agreement, Walmart will be providing an annual payment to the city of approximately $1.64 million. Over the life of this agreement, the city will receive approximately $74.2 million to the general fund. Walmart is one of Baytown's major employers. Their operations in Cedarport Industrial Park currently employs roughly 1,300 employees annually, contributing significantly to our workforce and consumer spending in our community. Tonight, we do have two representatives, Mr. Ronnie Jimenez, who is the site general manager, as well as Mr. Ted Soam from Walmart's corporate office. And they're here to have a couple brief remarks for you.
All right. Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor, and city staff. My name is Ted Soam, and I'm here with Ronnie Jimenez from our Import Distribution Center. We appreciate you giving us the time on tonight's agenda. Walmart has been part of the Baytown communities for many years, and we value the relationship we've built with the city. We want to continue being a great partner with the community and alongside Baytown as the community grows. So we're grateful to be here with you tonight. I also want to take a moment to thank Brian Moran. Brian approached us early on in the process and has been great to work with. So we appreciate your support and commitment to reaching out and continuing the partnership we've built over the years. Like Mr. Brown had said, this agreement between Baytown and Walmart is part of a long-term partnership, and we want to continue being a great partner with the community. Once again, thank you for having us tonight.
Good evening, Council. So my name is Ronnie Jimenez. I'm the General Manager of the Import Distribution Center here in Baytown, Texas. We've been here for a very long time. I myself have been in the leading role for a very long time as well. We're happy to continue to do business here. We value Baytown. In the past, we have worked closely together, and we have a healthy relationship. So we continue to look forward to doing that. As Mr. Moran indicated, we do employ about 1,300 associates, and we continue to invest into our community. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Questions or comments? None? Good deal. Well, Mr. Moran? I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
You say you all employ 1,300 employees?
That's correct, sir.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot.
I actually have heard a lot of people saying that they work at Walmart, but I didn't realize it was 1,300.
Yeah, the distribution center alone employs 1,300 associates, and obviously that's outside of the stores, right? So this is only the distribution center, and then next year we're also bringing the Sam's Club to Baytown, which you already know is going to be. So we're going to be there supporting that as well, and we're looking forward to that as well.
Good deal. Yeah. Excellent. Yes, sir.
I want to clarify. I think I know the answer, but I've learned to ask the question. The 1.64 million approximately a year, that's based on the minimum value that's stated in the contract.
That is correct.
As that value goes up, and I would hope for everybody's sake that it does, I mean, it would be great for y'all, it's great for us, then that annual payment also increases.
Correct.
Perfect. I'm good with that.
It's not bad. All right. We need to approve this? Yeah. I need a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We're actually looking forward to that Sam's.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, get it done quick, huh?
Yeah. Happy enough for deals.
Proposed resolution 6A, consider a resolution to resolve by settlement CenterPoint Energy Houston Electric LLC's application for authorization to enter into a new temporary emergency electric energy facilities, TEEF, lease. Mr. Lamont.
Council, this is a resolution that asks for authorization to settle a matter with CenterPoint. This was brought to us again by the Texas Coast Utilities Coalitions of Cities, of which we are a member. It involves a May 27, 2025 application by CenterPoint to authorize it to enter into the leases of small mobile generation facilities, which are also known as temporary emergency electric energy facilities. So we'll be referring to those as TEEFs from this point forward. In that application, CenterPoint asserted that the TEEFs are necessary to restore power to the company's customers whenever there is a significant power outage. However, in that application, CenterPoint never stated how much these facilities will cost or the impact of adding these leased facilities may have on customers' monthly bills. CenterPoint also asserted that this is not a rate-making proceeding before the Public Utilities Commission, and therefore participating cities like Baytown are not entitled to reimbursement of expenses for challenging CenterPoint's actions. Nevertheless, TCUC intervened in the matter and was able to come to a proposed resolution with CenterPoint. The resolution includes the following. CenterPoint will maintain records that pre-identify locations that are suitable for the deployment of TEEFs. CenterPoint, following any event that necessitates the deployment of TEEFs, will, upon request, provide details regarding the types of customers and customer facilities where TEEFs were deployed, and the types of customers and locations in which TEEFs were not deployed due to design, customer facility limitations, electrical, or other deployment-related reasons. CenterPoint will also, when the deployment of TEEFs become reasonably foreseeable, provide upon request details regarding the types of customers and customer facilities where CenterPoint is proposing to deploy the TEEFs, and if known, the types of customers and locations where CenterPoint proposes it will not deploy TEEF facilities, and that it will provide the reasons for not deploying those TEEF facilities. CenterPoint will consult with city and county offices of emergency management in any affected areas on the prioritization of TEEF deployment when the deployment of TEEF facilities becomes reasonably foreseeable during significant power outage events. CenterPoint will coordinate with critical load customers, meaning residential, public safety, or industrial customers who have essential needs such as life support, providing public safety services, or critical industry processes, which would depend heavily upon a continuous flow of electricity. And while this does not guarantee uninterrupted power, it does mandate or it does, CenterPoint would provide special notifications and priority restoration during power outages. So that's what it would be when we refer to critical load customers. So CenterPoint will coordinate with critical load customers when there is a potential need for deployment of the TEEF facilities, when they become reasonably foreseeable, to restore service to the critical load customers during significant power outages. And finally, CenterPoint will notify the coalition of cities and commission staff if it plans to renew any of these TEEF lease agreements. we recommend approval under these circumstances.
Okay. Have these locations been identified?
Not yet. That was part of the criticism that the coalition had with this application. So as part of the settlement, before TIFs are deployed, once it becomes reasonably necessary to do so, then CenterPoint will start coordinating with the cities, the counties, and critical load customers. And then following the event, they will provide, upon request, a list of customers to whom TIFs were deployed, customers to whom they were not deployed, and the reasons why.
So do we have a time frame on when we may know these things?
Well,
I'm asking because we normally get a hard freeze now sometime in January.
Well, the administrative proceeding is going on right now.
Okay.
So the coalition is asking its members to approve the settlement. Then there will be a final settlement negotiated in the PUC proceeding, and it will become effective. When that is, I don't know, but I would say within the next 30 days, perhaps.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Any questions or concerns, comments? I need a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Lamont. 6B and 7A have been pushed to the next meeting at the request of the developer. So we are going on to 7B, receive and discuss a presentation regarding the cost recovery permit fee model. Mr. Scribner.
All right, so after that last hour or so, I'm going to move on to something really fun, and we're going to talk about fee increases. Everybody's favorite topic. Okay. So, as you know, we did just undergo a recent update of the development fees. This did not include building permits or any other kind of permits. It was just things like rezones and variances and subdivision plats, things that were related to larger development. The last change we did to the actual permit fees was back in 2019. And what we had, Assistant City Manager Brant Gary had given City Council a quick presentation on the possibility of moving forward with a cost recovery model of fee increases over the next 5 years at your June 27th work session. So some of this you'll see should look familiar. Again, we're including tonight some comparable cities and what their fees look like and how we rank within those cities. And then again, the goal here is an 80% cost recovery, which is one of the numbers that was thrown out when we did the update of the development fees back in, I think, January, February. And this would be proposed as an incremental ramp up over 5 years. So again, this is the slide that Mr. Gary showed you back in June. Again, this kind of shows the revenues versus expenditures and how those are currently weighted and how they would end up again over the course of 5 years, getting up to around that 80% point. So that's basically the costs of the Planning and Development Services Department. We would like to see the cost of our efforts covered by about 80% by fees themselves. Currently, it's more like 45, 46%. So where do we rank? This shows just examples of, so there's 4 different kinds of permit that were used to make this chart. So you got development type permits, commercial permits, residential permits, and then inspections, which is part of that as well. What you can see is that all the way over on the left, and these are ranked lowest to highest, lowest being a 1, highest being a 7. So the lower that bar is on the chart, the lower it ranks within those 7 categories. And what you're seeing is Baytown current, Baytown proposed, and then 5 other cities. You'll see Pearland, League City, Galveston, Missouri City, and Sugar Land. These are the same cities we showed you with the development fees earlier this year. So as you can see, currently, we consistently rank as the lowest fees out of all of the comparable cities. What we're proposing to do with this over the next, you would see this in January, is to be somewhere in the middle. Again, we want to get to that 80% mark over 5 years. And what you're seeing here would be that we would be looking at next year, our fees would be comparable in some areas, a little higher in other areas, a little lower in some, but never the highest out of all of the cities that we have marked here tonight. And with that, we combined and did averages across several of the larger permit categories. And what you see is ranked lowest to highest. And you can see left to right, our current permits on average are about the lowest out of the comparable cities. And what we're showing with the increase would be right about the middle. So we'd be fourth from the top. And that is right there in the middle in the yellow. A few examples. Again, this is just a smattering. The number of permits we have is pages long, so I didn't want to show you all that tonight. So we took some of the ones that we have the most applications for on an annual basis. These numbers are based off of last fiscal year. So what you're seeing is you see some of the trade permits that we get quite a few of, but the permit rate, the fee rate is very low. And so you'll see a contrast between that and, say, new commercial builds where you have a high fee, but you get less of them. So again, you had 832 electrical residential permits. Then it's more about the quantity than how much we charge per. But anyway, you get the idea. So what you're seeing there is, again, kind of some of our method in making these determinations. And what you're seeing is just about a 12% increase across the board. I think one of the things that Mr. Gary had mentioned back in June was that some of the lesser used and some of the applications that don't get applied for a lot, or also ones that are, say, a homeowner wants to come in and get a plumbing or not plumbing, that's probably not a good one, but like a swimming pool or a fence or something like that, things that we don't see a ton of, then we tried to keep those increases low and offset it with some of the higher cost, higher numbers ones. So commercial, we might have bumped a little bit more to kind of make up for that. We don't want the burden to be on our homeowners who are doing small jobs and remodels and things like that. We want to put the burden of at least some of the burden on some of those bigger projects. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that's not across the board. There was some judgment calls in there to say that these are lower numbers and, again, issues that we didn't want to hit your sort of everyday homeowner. So we looked at this 5-year goal to achieve an 80% cost recovery, roughly. For the average increase, we're looking at about 12% per year, roughly. We would also be considering an annual inflation rate to go with that. Again, as fiscal year 27 to 30, we would be seeing around 12 to 15% annually. We would want to consider those fee increases as part of the annual budget process. So what we're looking for tonight is a sort of a general direction from council that says, yes, we like this method and this is something we want to achieve. We do have a public input meeting scheduled on January 13th in this room to get any input that we might get from the folks that this does affect. And then we'll bring that information back to you for an adoption of the new fee schedule on January 26th with an effective date. Right now we're proposing for April 1st if they're delayed. We want to give everybody a little bit of a chance to get used to the new fees. And we need time. This would be a considerable change to our electronic system. So we need some time to make sure we not only get the numbers in, but check it for bugs and make sure we got everything correct because there's a lot of moving parts there. So we're looking at least April 1st. If for some reason adoption gets moved back, we would look to move that effective date back as well, not only for the applicants, but also for staff. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
One question, Martin. Mm-hmm. If this ends up, this effective date is April 1st or even slides past that, would you be looking I know you have in here, it'll be considered as part of the annual budget process. So would the goal be going forward that it would always just occur on October 1st when we hit the new budget cycle?
Yes, that would be the intent, and maybe if we're enacting it later than April 1st, maybe we're pushing the entire program back to October 1st to say, okay, this won't become effective, so we can do an annual.
Right.
But you would see those anticipated fees or proposed fees as part of the budget.
Okay.
So you would have a chance to review and ask questions.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think you understood where I was going with that. I mean, if this slides too far past April, I don't know that we'd want to increase it and then immediately turn around and do it on October 1st. But we can see when we're able to get these effective and then where we are in budget planning for the following year.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Deal. Any more comments or?
I guess the input you were looking for was I agree with the direction you're going. I think is what you're.
Yeah, it's just a general thumbs up across.
Yeah, I'm going to say that the going back to the slide with the fees.
That one?
Right there. That's not much at all, honestly. Just looking at them, I really thought it was going to be a lot more on the increase on each than what it is. So I think we're going to be in the right position.
It's obviously going to depend. The higher the value of like the ones that are going to take the biggest hit are the big commercial projects. The higher the value, the higher the fee.
Yeah.
That is how we and most cities around us gauge what the fee is for the permit review. So, and I'll give you an idea. The permit review fees for, say, San Jacinto Marketplace are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it can have a pretty big effect on particular projects when they head that direction. But that said, across the board, we don't have a lot of those. So that's something that we can work with, I think. And we can look at those bigger projects and set, something specific for them.
Got you. All right. Well, yeah, it does sound good. I think you know what we like, right?
I'm good.
Good deal. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Now we will move on to consent agenda. Items A through Z. Does anyone have anything they'd like to pull? You do?
No, Kenny's laughing because I joked with Kenny earlier. He's like, if you pull it, I'll kill you.
Nothing? What? Okay. All right, good deal. Well, I need a motion.
Motion to approve items 8A through Z.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we're on to appointments. Consider two city manager appointments to the Civil Service Commission.
Mayor and Council, the recommendation is to appoint Dave Gerald to the Commission Board for another term. Mr. Gerald has been consistent in attendance and mentor to other board members and is respected by the fire and police employee groups. For the vacancy, the recommendation is to appoint Caitlin Powell to fulfill the remaining term period through December 31st, 2027. Caitlin was the only application received for the board during the past 6 months. She was given an overview of the duties of the commission and interviewed for the vacancy. Ms. Powell is eager and willing to serve in this role, and we believe she would be a great addition.
Good deal. I need a motion.
The addition of Miss Caitlin Powell and reappoint Mr. Geralds.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 9B, consider a resolution authorizing 5 appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Ms. Jackson. Oh. I got you.
Angie looked at me, so like you guys haven't seen enough of me tonight. I think that, I don't have them up on the screen, but I do know that 3 of your current members would like to continue. And you have Mr. Chapa, who has actually said that Mr. Chapa has said that he would like to serve the city, but he also understands that he's been missing a lot of the meetings, and he has not he has told us he's not looking to be reappointed. And then Mr. Harlow, he has also missed several meetings because of his business life and his travel. We believe he would like to stay on, but again, we do know that he has quite a lot of scheduling conflicts. So, Ms. Scott, Mr. Laredo, and Ms. Wheeler, they do all seek reappointment, and staff is recommending that.
Good deal. So we want to take all these at once or one at a time?
One at a time.
Okay, well, for my appointment, I do want to reappoint Ms. Scott. So I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Ms. Scott. Next, we have at large, Mr. Oscar Choppa's position, and we have 2 applications here.
Recommend Preet Singh. I would like to thank Oscar for everything he's done. He's been a great, him and his wife.
Yeah.
I know he's busy.
Oh, it's an ETJ?
It has to be an ETJ appointment on the at-large?
It doesn't say. It's in city.
Yeah, Oscar's not an ETJ. He's on Country Club View.
Yeah.
I'll have to check. I have a note here, apparently, that it recently changed to now.
It does say that right
Okay.
there. Okay.
Can we go through the others
Yes,
and
we
then come
will.
back?
Yeah. Mr. Laredo, District 1,
I will be reappointing Mr. Laredo.
need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. District 3, Mrs. Wheeler.
I know Ms. Wheeler seeks reappointment. I've reported her during my first term. However, this time around, I wanted to take a different direction and replace her with Jeff Walters.
I need a motion.
Move to approve.
I need a motion.
I move to approve
Okay,
Jeff Walters.
I need a second. I need a second. 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last time, I need a second. Okay, that dies on the vine.
Oh.
And District 5, at large.
I'm gonna. I know you said you weren't able to contact Mr. Harlow, and I know he's missed some meetings, so I'm gonna have a conversation with him and just see if he's able to improve his attendance in the next year. If not, I'll work to get some additional.
Okay.
Nominees.
So we'll revisit that in
Yeah,
in
like a
January.
little more time on that one.
I got
Thank
you. Excellent. So congratulations to all those who were reappointed. We are now on to 9.
Point of clarification. Yeah, on the District 3 appointment, then if there's not another appointment nominee, then Ms. Wheeler would stay in place until that is until she's replaced.
Yeah.
And when can we expect a clarification on Mr. Chapa?
I'll look at that.
Okay, because I know he's not ETJ.
I think it just changed.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
So is there no appointment renewal on my appointment? I mean, what happens now? Does she?
She's a
She
holdover.
she's a holdover until someone else.
You can make a motion to reappoint if you wanted to, or you can wait and look for another applicant.
I want to ask council what's the reserves with my appointment.
For me, you had another District 3 appointee. I would.
Well, it's not district specific. It's at large, so I can
I
pick.
get it. I understand. I mean, but I would like to see us represent our people representing from our districts.
Council, I would ask that if you're going to go into specifics about any candidate, that we consider that a personnel matter to discuss in executive session.
I got you. Makes sense.
Unless the individual requests that it be discussed in public session.
Sounds good. Thank you. We are now on to 9C, consider a resolution authorizing 6 appointments to the Community Development Advisory Committee. We're going to take these individually. We're going to start with District 1.
I am not ready at this time. I've had some conversations with Mr. Hinojosa, and he would like to see new people, and we didn't get any applicants for my district, and so we're going to have a conversation there. He's still willing to serve, but he also wants to entertain getting some new people in there.
So he's going to be a holdover for now.
He's going to be a holdover for now.
Got you.
Yes.
District 2, she's not here, so we're gonna hold over on that. District 3.
District 3. Oh, I'm going to reappoint Anita Nichols. That's
Good
okay
deal.
with everybody.
District 4.
I'm going to leave Kim Booker on. She's this is her first term, so she'll be going to it with her second term on this one. So, kind of give her another chance on that. She hasn't missed any meetings, and the 4 that she's been able to she's been called to.
Okay, good deal. And District 5.
I'm going to request some additional time on this one as well.
Okay. On the at-large position, I would like to nominate Rhoda Brown. Applications, second page, yeah.
Brown Rhoda.
Brown. I got you. I need a motion.
So,
Those that have been indicated.
yes.
By district
Yeah.
and at large.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations to those who are appointed to the Community Development Advisory Committee. Now we're on to 9D, consider the mayor's appointment of 1 representative and 1 alternate to the Transportation Policy Council and 1 representative and 1 alternate to the 2026 Technical Advisory Committee. We're not going to make any changes to the Technical Advisory Committee. I think y'all are doing an excellent job. I actually made a phone call in to HGAC, and everything's looking good. TPC, I've spoke with everyone, and I'm going to thank Mr. Jacob for his service, and Mr. Reynolds for his service also on TPC, but I am chomping at the bits to get back involved with that. That was one of the first committees I was appointed to when I was on council, and I'm going to nominate myself and Mr. Griffith. Man, I forgot your name for a minute. I'm getting old.
Got that forgettable name.
Yeah.
Yes. And Mr. Griffith says that he thinks he's ready to serve in a bit more of a capacity representing council.
That's correct.
And so those are my 2 nominations. Me as the point person and him as the alternate.
Sounds good.
I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Griffith and Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Now to 9E, consider a resolution casting the City of Baytown's ballot for the election of a representative to serve on the Board of Directors of the Harris Central Appraisal District. Mr. Lamond.
Yes, Council. If you recall, we had the nominations for the appraisal districts before you at one of our previous meetings, and you'd asked for some additional background on the candidates. We did receive some information from both the Harris Central Appraisal District as well as Chambers County, which will be the next item, and we provided those resumes that were available to you, although I don't believe either district provided resumes on 100% of the candidates, but they both told us they don't normally keep those types of records. So they kind of did us a solid.
Good deal, thank you. So, we tabled this, we brought it back, are we ready to make this vote? Good deal, I need a motion.
Motion to consider the 6 votes as presented for Harris County Appraisal District.
Well, we have to.
Yeah, we're gonna be, it's gonna,
I mean, we have to decide how we're going to distribute those votes. Right?
Yeah.
So it can't just be
It's not
motion
across the board.
votes. We need to. Well, I believe we have 6 votes, and we need
Yes.
to distribute them across. I mean,
To who we
one
would like.
candidate can get
You know,
all 6, or we
or-
can distribute
yeah.
them across the various candidates. So.
Well, I'd like to, the only person I really know, and I did look through all the applications, I would be okay moving forward with Miss Melissa Noriega. I know she was presented as a nominee in September. We were missing some resumes and bios, and I cannot remember which ones those were. Let's see. Mr. Jason Morris. Isn't there 2 of them?
Well, we have 2. I mean, we show that there were 2 nominated: Martina Lamont Dixon and Melissa Noriega.
Yeah.
But Melissa is not on the ballot that came back to us, so I don't know what that means. If there were some threshold of nominations, or there's a Joey Noriega
Yeah, I think that is a typo because
on the ballot.
On the ballot, because the information that we received from the appraisal district was that it was in fact Melissa who was on the ballot, and she is a returning, or she is a current member of the board who is looking to have her appointment extended or renewed.
Okay. Well, I guess we're discussing it. I mean, I would be okay splitting our 6 votes, 3 and 3, between those 2 individuals.
I'd be okay.
Martina Lamont Dixon and Melissa Noriega.
I'm okay with that. The only thing I discussed is that I wish we would get someone that was either from Baytown or closer to Baytown. But
One
these,
of them is connected to Baytown.
Yes, they are.
yes.
Yeah.
But in a roundabout. But either way, I am okay doing the split.
I need a motion.
Motion to do a 3 and 3 split between the 2 presented nominees, Miss Martina Lemon Dixon and Melissa Noriega.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations to those 2. And F, consider a resolution casting the City of Baytown's ballot for the election of a representative to serve on the Board of Directors of the Chambers County Appraisal District. Mr. Lamont.
Council, this is a companion resolution. This one is for Chambers County Appraisal District. As stated before, we did receive information from the district regarding the nominees for appointment.
I will say the information we received from this district was probably less inclusive than the information we got from Harris County.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
There wasn't much there, but with 6 names and 6 votes, without additional information, I mean, we got what we asked for. I'd make a motion, we just spread our votes evenly across the 6 individuals.
Well,
Sounds good.
can I get you to amend that, because I believe I know Mr. Tan Williams, and he would represent us well in Chambers County.
Okay. Are you okay splitting it 6 ways?
I'd like to give him a little more lean than
Yeah,
that, but
since
if
you know it,
we
yeah.
want to do it 6
Okay.
ways, then we
Give them
can.
all 6. I
We
mean,
could
that's-
give them all 6.
I read through the info and I didn't really have anything.
Yeah.
But I think if I'm not mistaken, all 6 are currently serving. Is that right? It looks like at least the majority of them were.
I think they are.
You know what, I'm not sure, let me see if I have that information.
Yeah, they all appeared to be currently serving.
Give us a little on 10 leaves. Or we can just, again, there's 6 candidates, we can give them all one, but that just kind of
Yeah, no, that's,
dilutes it down.
I didn't have any additional information to go off of. Sounds like you do, so I'd take your word for it.
We trust you. You're starting to look like Santa Claus, so we'll trust you.
Ho, 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 ho. I got my naughty list.
So what are we doing?
We're gonna spread them, and we're gonna give him one more. We're gonna have to take one from somebody.
Right.
So if you can do it, just give them all 6.
I'll withdraw my motion. You make a motion.
Yeah, you're gonna put that on me.
Yes, sir.
Council, I do have the list of current board members. Joe Crumpler, who's also listed in the resolution, Alicia Turner, who's also there, Joey Presnall, who's also on our resolution, Everett Williams, Tan Williams, who we just discussed, Lori Payton, who is here as well, and John Eilis. So, yes, they are all current members.
We just keep on.
Just keep all of them.
I guess with that, if they're all current members, let's just split our vote 26.
Let's get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
You
opposed?
tried to keep it simple.
Motion carries. Manager's report, Mr. Jason Reynolds.
Mayor and Council, I have a few things for you. First, the Police Department was recently recognized at the 2025 Southeast Texas Law Enforcement Awards for its strong commitment to traffic safety. Between September 24 and September 25, our officers made 342 DWI arrests. So it's been busy on the streets. Officer Eric Schwash received the Mad Enforcement Hero Award for leading the department with 131 DWI arrests, an honor he has earned almost every single year. So a third of the year he's getting somebody for DWI. That's a lot. Officer Christopher Calhoun received the Outstanding Service Award for his work in DWI enforcement and prevention with 52 DWI arrests while maintaining a full patrol schedule. He is also one of only 60 drug recognition experts in the state and serves as a DRE instructor, helping train officers statewide. You know I am too. Did you know that, John? Crazy facts, right? The 77th Annual Baytown Christmas Parade was held on December 4th with the theme Boots, Bells, and Holiday Yells, a true Texas Christmas. Despite the chances of bad weather, the parade was a great success, featuring 121 total entries, 226 vehicles, and 1,735 walkers. We extend a special thank you to all city departments and partners whose support was essential in making this year's parade safe, smooth, and truly memorable. And big thank you to Cliff and his team and everybody else that was involved. And fantastic every single year. The 2025 Baytown Geo Tour Community Celebration demonstrated geocaching's value as a tourism driver for Baytown. This travel-based hobby brings participants into the city to explore parks, landmarks, and local businesses. As part of the Geo Tour experience, the Brunson Visitor Center was filled with geocachers from cities like College Station, Spring, Clear Lake, Orange, Missouri City, and many more. Special thanks to Baytown Burt for co-hosting and for their continued support. So thank you again to the tourism team. Are your kids at home with nothing to do? Do you have last-minute holiday shopping? This is an advertisement. Doing my best radio voice if possible. Then shelf your elf. Your kids get a day of fun and you get a day to get things done. The Eddie V. Gray Wetland Center staff and Epic Club members are hosting 2 Parents Day Out events at the Wetland Center on December 22nd and 23rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. The cost per child per day is $30. Activities include animal encounters, crafts, and holiday-themed STEM games. Registration closes on December 18th, next Thursday. And finally, this year marked the 26th year of the city's Baytown's Angel Tree, and the spirit of giving shone brighter than ever. Together, we've provided 152 gifts to children from our 4 elementary schools, a child care center that supports low-income families and at-risk students in GCC ISD junior highs, and high schools. The kindness of staff across the city made all of this possible, bringing joy, comfort, and a sense of community to children who needed it most. A big thank you to everyone who participated and made this a great success. Martin, to your team, Sharon, Stephanie, really putting this together. Mayor, council, citizens, if y'all could have seen it today, this place was full of gifts, and it's pretty spectacular. And when you look at the registration list, you have multiple employees from Baytown that sponsored 4, 5, 6 kids in some instances, and really getting people involved. So a big thank you for spearheading that, and to all the employees that took part and helped a child in need, and help those families. So, Mayor and Council, that's all I have.
Council Member District Report, District 5, Mr. Jacob Powell.
All right. We're seeing some exciting progress on several new businesses in District 5. I'll just run through these quickly. Out on 146, we have a new Milano Nail Spa. There's also the Swift 146 fuel station. It's the same. They're also building the Swift at Showlander and I-10. Also have the new apartments out on 146 as well. That's the K&M development. You know, the Starbucks is open there now. Community Resource will be putting a new credit union in there. So that area will continue to develop. Plaza Shops at Baytown on North Main. Baytown 10 Commerce Center out on I-10. Street rehabilitation project on Shoshone Street is moving along well and is nearing completion. That's in Pinehurst. The private lift station that was located at the Texaco location has been taken offline with the completion of the Chambers Common lift station. So that's the same area out there on 146. We have the new larger lift station that's really going to help the development continue in that area. Contractors are working on a SCADA project, and that's all related to various lift stations as well. Not the most glamorous thing, but we've got to have that infrastructure. And then parks, we had the 2025 Turkey Trot, took place on November 22nd at Jenkins Park. Even with the rainy weather, we had nearly 400 participants in the 1K and 5K runs, joined by several community partners, including Goose Creek ISD, Light Fiber, Pirates Bay, Fitness Connection, and Tom's Traveling Coffee. So thank you to everyone who helped make that event a success. And one other thing I wanted to mention, I don't see Thomas still in the room, but I was able to sit in on a meeting. He has quarterly meetings with Union Pacific, and I've heard a lot recently in District 5 as well. I know others here about train issues, but District 5's got a few rough crossings, and we seem to have issues with trains blocking crossings. Seem to have picked up recently, and we had a really good meeting with Union Pacific this week. Like I said, Thomas has those quarterly, but sat in on it, and they recently made some changes to just operationally to try to alleviate some of that. They're going to send us some verbiage over that Public Affairs can put out. I won't attempt to summarize what all was said in that meeting because I know I'll butcher it, but hoping to see some improvement with just limiting the number of blocked crossings there through D5. And so that is all I have. I guess if we don't have another meeting the rest of the year, everyone have a very Merry Christmas.
Go Army.
Thank you.
Good deal. We will now recess into and convene an executive session pursuant to Texas government. I now reconvene our open meeting of the Baytown City Council and announce that in accordance with Section 551.102 of the Texas Government Code, no action was taken in executive session. Having exhausted everything on this agenda, I adjourn this meeting at 12:08 p.m.